Welcome everybody to the Tuesday show. My name is James Chen and I'm joined here by David and Brandon over here and Slay701 in the chat. I'll tell you, I'll start right now. Where's my clip?
Call me by my government?
Where's my clip? High fight? No, I'm just kidding.
James, of course, is bragging about his victories in Street Fighter. Oh God, StrIVe. Guilty there, Capcom guy. That's actually going to screw me up for a while. I just realized the StrIVe versus Street Fighter is going to get me. What's up? How's it going? I've had a blast watching. Have you been watching, Tobo?
Yeah. I've been, well, not James in particular, but I've seen a lot of Guilty Gear footage, and I've been injecting it straight into my veins. This game looks so sick.
We'll definitely be talking about it a lot. As you can see on the side here, that's the first thing that we are going to be talking about. We're going to talk about the characters, the game engine, the online, all the various aspects of it. It's super sick. We're going to talk about the Street Fighter V Winter Update, which also has a ton of news to go over. So this is actually probably like a games-focused episode for the most part.
Dude,
amazing.
First time in a while.
First time in a while.
These next couple of weeks, man, there's a lot of game stuff that's coming up soon. So it's a lot. This is a weirdly super packed, busy chunk of fighting game time right now.
Definitely it is. We're going to talk about some of it. We have a few 5-5 matchups that we're going to get to on account of we don't have an interview this week, on account of I kind of screwed that up, so my bad. But it ends up working out because we have a lot of news to talk about anyway. There's other game news to get to, of course. Joe Higashi, Dengeki, Bunko fighting Climax, etc. We're going to talk about some other community stuff. There are some tournament results to get to. There's some upcoming things. James was just talking about how many things are going on. We're going to talk about some of that. And then at the end, our mailbag, where we answer whatever inane nonsense you guys want to toss our way. But yeah, let's start by talking about Guilty Gear StrIVe. We have been seeing over the past, week and a half, the Arxis YouTube channel coming out with starter guides on all these different characters that they're putting out there. They even had one that was on game mechanics. So they're doing a good job at detailing in very brief form what these characters are up to. Like, they're under 5 minutes, right? They're very short, but they're giving us info about what's up. And then this week, maybe a few days ago, there started to be copies in the wild that people were using for review or for whatever. And so we started to see big combo videos coming out. And then this week, there's an early access for the beta going on. Of course, the full beta starts tomorrow if you pre-ordered the game, and then everybody else has access to the beta the day after that. But for now, people who were considered influential or esports enough have access to it.
Sage and Giuna. And James Chen. All of you, dude, you influencers.
What is wild is that if you go on Twitch, I haven't checked it actually in the last half hour, but the last time I checked Twitch, there were over 32,000 people watching Guilty Gear StrIVe across all the different channels. Like, you can see it as a category, right? That's awesome.
So wait, so cool. That was a 30,000 Maximilian, and then
he was not live at that time.
Really?
I don't know if he is now. I don't know if he is now, but yeah,
interesting.
It was.
Okay.
It wasn't actually 30,000. No,
it was. There was several streamers with well over 1,000.
Oh yeah, there were people like SageM had 5,000 when I saw it. Like, there are people with big numbers here. Yeah. No, it's very cool. So anyway, all right, let's just hop into talking about the game itself. James, you're the only one who has had actual game time with the latest beta. So why don't you hop in by just talking about your impressions so far?
So, I mean, just not talking about my own like gameplay experiences and stuff. First of all, the technical side of things. The first thing everyone's going to wonder is, how's the netcode? How's the netcode? There's not a lot of people who are on this early beta right now. And I say this because that means the lobbies were all like concentrated in one place. But everyone you ran into was from Korea, was from Japan, was from Europe. I played people from Europe. I played people from Korea. I played people from Japan. I played other people in the United States. There was not a single game that I felt like wasn't offline. Like, seriously. It was...
Well, all right, James Chen. How much is Arxis paying you to shill this game? All right. Very clearly, there's no way that you can truly enjoy this online experience. They have to be paying you.
Dude. Zynak, dude.
Zynak saved the FGC.
It's wild, right? That one guy, I don't know how much like he actually has done. But as KI and this, come on.
I believe in Zynak. Wherever Zynak goes, I'll follow.
Yeah.
Zynak, of course, worked on Killer Instinct for a while, right? If I'm not mistaken.
He worked for IG, and then he started working for Arxis. He did work on Granblue, and the rumors have it that's when he started pushing Arxis to, like, started poking his bosses and such about Rollback and showed them how important it is. And here we are. That's the rumor. I don't know. I don't work at Arxis. That's what I've been told. That's what I've heard. He started poking around. They started listening to the fans, and boom, here we are. Amazing netcode in a Guilty Gear game.
Yeah, and not only that too, but all of the, we talked about this before. All the Japanese players, we've always just assumed that their netcode was just the most brilliant thing ever, that their infrastructure was amazing. But even to this point right now, there were tweets from like Dogura, from like Goichi or whoever. Like, there was a bunch of people that were just like, I played someone in America and it felt perfect. This is so good. Like, even the Japanese players were marveling at how good the netcode was.
You can see it just in watching. I mean, I watched a bunch of it today and caught up on some of the archives from last night, Justin's stream. And I could see that they were making decisions. Like, they would play against people. I saw you, James, play against people in Japan and Korea. And you guys were just, I couldn't tell. Like, you were absolutely making the normal decisions. Blocking normally. When, Giovanna's going up into the sky with her overhead thing, you block. Like, you punish stuff. Like, it looks like normal gameplay, which is, again, remarkable.
And that's the thing, is, like, I spent a large majority of the early few hours doing nothing but training mode. Right? And this is pure offline. And then I went online, and honestly, none of the timings I felt were different at all. Like, everything that I was practicing in training mode translated to the online exactly as it is. Oh God, I can't express how joyous it is to play a good rollback netcode like that, and against people in Japan and people across the entire Pacific Ocean. It was crazy, dude. I mean, I haven't had that experience maybe since the Ultimore patch.
You played against people in Japan, you played against people in Korea, you played against Leffen in Sweden.
Yeah.
And that all looked legit. And then whoever else you're playing from wherever they were as well.
All the way to Sweden. That's wild.
That's so far, honestly. Yeah. Like,
wild.
It's incredible.
It shouldn't work. Like, I can tell you KI from here to Sweden doesn't work that well. Like, that, it makes me feel like this netcode is stronger than KI's. I mean, when everybody's on. But
I played against people in the UK in KI, and it's been effective. For me to Sweden, I haven't tried, but in any case, this is among the best netcode. It sounds like I haven't played it yet, but from what everybody's been saying, from what it looks like online, it seems like it's at least among the best of any netcode.
For sure.
And I mean, it's and then I mean that, like I said, just from that standpoint, from I don't know, is there anything else you want to say about the netcode? I can move on to some other stuff as well.
I haven't played it yet, but I think it's so cool. It has been cool, I should say this, to see the reload scene be so happy with how their game has rollback netcode and how it's kind of like revived that. And the gear scene has been really strong as a result. So I think it's really cool to see that carried over into StrIVe. Not that all those players need to play StrIVe, right? Play whatever you like. But I do think it's really cool for Guilty Gear, like as a series, that this is something that's continued, that we can actually play. When Xrd, how many times have you heard this story? Xrd, same way, however many times. Great game comes out. Everybody's like, this game seems really fun. I'd like to play it against people. And then it's just terrible online. And even before the pandemic, when we could actually go over to people's houses, there were still lots of people living in places who didn't have a local FGC, or who maybe did, but like nobody played whatever their particular game was that they were interested in. So they just couldn't play this game that they loved, really.
I mean,
this game's not going to have that problem. You can play wherever you want.
You think about it, if KOF15 had this netcode, KOF13 would have been freaking gigantic. I really feel like it.
Probably.
Sure, a lot of people said that they would have played that game if not for the terrible netcode. absolutely right. Speaking of Neko, I also wanted to say another superlative. I heard that Giuna, who lives in Japan, was playing against somebody in Spain. In Spain, all right? In Spain from Japan? That's further than wherever we are to wherever you guys have been playing against. That is absurd.
It shouldn't work.
Absurd.
Like, it just, that's wild.
Yeah,
like, if that's true, if you can actually play, like, what we got to try is people on just polar opposites of the world, Japan versus Brazil or whatever, like, whatever is, like, the actual opposite. Just to see, and if you can play that, like, we can really probably get some major tournaments going on, like, almost wherever. Almost.
Remember, Skullgirls got a couple of updates that made the netcode work, that they were playing those Japan versus US matches and such, right?
Right.
I bet you that technology was used by Zynac for this to make it feel better than even the rollback that we've already had. So, I mean, honestly, like I said, it felt great to me. Now, obviously, there were some bad matchups out there. I had one matchup that did hiccup like once or twice. There were a couple of people that I tried to connect to and I couldn't connect to them. There's definitely bugs in the lobby and everything like that. I'll get into the lobby in a little bit because definitely one of the negative aspects of the game right now is the lobby system, which is just... I mean, I've said it before. I think it's a good idea. I think what they're trying to do is cool. They definitely didn't succeed, I feel like, in making it as good as... Well, I guess I'll talk about it now. They just didn't make it as good as it should have been. Like, it's still really awkward. Like, if someone doesn't have their sword out ready to play and you walk up to them and two people are trying to, like, match each other, okay, they run into each other in the lobby, let's play. One pulls out the sword and then they teleport to another part of the lobby and then they're gone and, like, you can't find them anymore. Like, there's definitely a lot of awkwardness in the lobby, and whatever they're trying to do right now, like, I like the fact that you can see the little avatars run around. Like, it was funny to see bald L.I. Joe running around and bald J.M. Crofts running around, or you would see someone in a certain outfit and you would know, oh, that's that guy again. And it's kind of neat to see that and run into, you get this personality out of things. There's a lot of good stuff that they could do with it, and they just have not implemented it well, and it's very kind of frustrating. It's really annoying, and it's tough because, like I said, everything else about the experience has been fantastic, but the lobby is just like, I mean, everybody was in the Japan 10th floor lobby, right? Because there wasn't that many people, so everyone just kind of chose that place to go and hang out. I guess it was full, because I would try going there and I would be the only person in that lobby. Because I guess it was full, and so they dropped me into a new lobby. You know, so
a new instance,
start populating a new one. Eventually I got into the lobby with everyone else, but it was like, I don't know, it's just the whole thing.
How does that work if you want to play with a friend? Like, is there a different way to matchmake with just friends?
Yes.
Like, okay. As long as you can do that, then whatever.
Yeah, one of the things that I did suspect was that there were going to be outdoor lobbies and stuff like that, and that definitely has manifested itself. You can create outdoor lobbies where you're just like create a neighborhood, and like it's actually kind of neat looking. It looks like a carnival area. There's like a stage with cabinets on it and speakers and everything, and like it's kind of neat, and you'll see people fighting there, but I don't know, like the whole system is a little more cumbersome than it should have been, I think.
It's not coming out for another few months. Well, 2 months or whatever. So maybe this is the part of the game that they're still going to be working on?
I don't think so, man.
Do you think it's just this is how it is?
I think this is the game.
I think this is going to be...
There's people with copies out there already, right? Like, the game is done.
Is it? Is there? I don't know.
That's what the person I thought they said that put out the Giovanna video. They had a review copy.
Right, that was
so if there's review copies in the wild, then the game is finished. It's gold, it's done, shipped. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see, but let's talk about... do you have anything to say about the lobby other than that?
I mean, look, like I said, I championed it. It's not working. They didn't do any of the things that I thought that they should try to do, so let's just put it that way. So...
Yeah, is the beta review copy. Yeah, I mean, again, it's still a couple months till the game actually comes out, so maybe we'll see. In any case, let's talk about the gameplay itself.
Well, before I get to the gameplay, I just want to talk about the training mode, okay? Like, this is... ArcSys has been very good at their training mode. This training mode is amazing right now. Now, it's cumbersome in a way that there are a lot of menus here, but that's just because of how much stuff you can do in these lobbies. Like, I don't know if you remember seeing this in Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, but you could set things to, like, after they block, they will react with this. Well, in Guilty Gear StrIVe, there was on hit, on block, after recovery, after throw tech, after this. You could set 3 things depending on who the dummy is. You know, you can change character, stage, background music through a menu. And so the loading is a little bit quick. You don't have to go to the character select. Even just to reset the stage, like if you hold down and reset, you start in the middle. If you hold left and you hold right, you start on the left and you start on the right. And then if you don't hold any direction and hit the reset button, you go to the last one that you were at. So in other words, if you started at left, you will always go to the left every time you reset. If you hold up and reset, it actually just swaps your character's positions. So you will go from the left to the right and the right to the left. Like, they just put, you can record, you know how you can record actions for a character? So in old Guilty Gear games, you had a record button and a play button. You hit record and it says record standby, and you can use the other character. Then you hit record and it starts recording, and then you hit the button again to stop the recording. Yeah, well, now, if you hit the record button and sit there and don't start recording, if you hit the play button, it changes the slot that you're recording it into. There's 5 slots that you can record into. So you can actually just pick which slot to go into right there and then. And then you can even pick random, because I think that also determines the playback as well. You can save your set of 5 actions to the hard drive. And you have like a list of like 12 possible slots that you can save these to. So if you set 5 actions for this particular character, you can then go load up, do all the other stuff, and go, I want to test that again, and go load that back up again.
So you could train against it with different characters, is what you're saying as well.
Well, I'm not sure how that applies with like different characters, but like if it doesn't work, but if you recorded something with Milia, you don't have to go and do it all over again if you just save it to the thing. I don't know what the combo recipe does. There's something called a combo recipe that almost looks like you can put together a combo and maybe send it to other people so they can try to do it or something. I don't know. Like,
are you like making a sandwich? Is it a combo sandwich?
The starter is one side of the bread.
Yeah. Let me tell you about the ender.
No, I mean, honestly, that training mode is crazy. It's so robust, and it just has a lot of wonderful features in there. So I'm really impressed what they did with the training mode. So shout outs to them. We didn't get to do any of the tutorial stuff. Like there's the intro tutorial, but then there's the mission mode. But the mission mode says coming soon. So there's nothing there. But yeah, so far it feels like they've done a great job with just the training mode features. It's going to be one of the most robust training modes I think is there. So,
well, good. I mean, for a Guilty Gear game, that's a good thing. We're going to need it.
Yeah. Right, yeah. Well, it's beautiful. Been watching it a lot. It's super gorgeous. Yeah. I was going to say that even before we talk about the actual gameplay itself, but just watching the game is such a treat. And I'm watching it here like on my 720p. Most people stream at 720p or whatever. Like that's what I'm watching on for the most part. And that even looks fantastic. And watching on the few that are in like 1080 is just, it's so pretty. It's I'm so looking forward to being able to see it on my own monitor again as I'm like actually playing it full screen.
I feel like ArcSys just keeps one-upping itself. Like,
yeah, totally.
When Dragon Ball FighterZ came out, I was like, this might be the best-looking video game of all time.
Right?
And then Grand Blue comes on, I'm like, this might be the best-looking video game of all time. And now StrIVe is coming, I'm like, this might be the best-looking video game of all time. Like, they just keep upping their ante. It's amazing.
And the animations are gorgeous. It's not just it's not any one thing, you know. It's not just the lighting. It's not just the models. It's the animation. It's all the various facets that go into something like this.
And there's a lot.
I am lucky enough to not really notice the UI. I don't even see it, so no big deal for me. Everything from my perspective is super great.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now. When I'm playing, I don't see the combo meter. I mean, you see the big giant counter letters at the bottom of the screen, but they're not disruptive when I'm playing. In fact, they feel kind of good, like counter. Oh, okay, I know I have some option to do something. The only problem with the counter is that I've seen a situation where like people like traded or something, and only one of them got counter hit or something, and I couldn't tell whose counter it was or something.
I have noticed that same thing. Yeah, I've seen trades, and it's not clear to me like who's actually gotten the counter in that situation. Yeah, right. But I will say that, so what it seems like, people, as I was streaming earlier today, were telling me this, it seems like the big counter, you know, the huge white letters in the background, that's only a feature that some moves have.
It's only heavies and dusts. Heavy slash and dust. They're the only times that produce.
So if somebody connects with a heavy and the other person with like a kick, then you know who got the counter, I guess. And other moves are just a little kind of orange side text that says counter. The only thing for me about the UI that I continue to dislike is that I just don't know why Risk is the thinnest bar that they've ever made in a UI. It's so important for the game. Like you can tell how important it is just based on watching it for a little bit. And for that to be as small as it is just a strange choice. I mean, it's very bright pink, especially as the bar fills up. So it's, you know, you will see it, I guess, but why? Like, why not have it?
I remember when they did their first, like, when they were reaching out to the fans, and because a lot of people were pissed off about the UI, they kept mentioning making things better for beginners. I'm curious if maybe they made it small so beginner players don't notice it. So it's like a thing that you don't have like on your mind, like, oh, another thing I have to manage. Like they can just learn that later, is what Arxis was thinking.
Maybe.
No big deal. But yeah, other than that, I have no idea why they would make it so tiny.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. But in general, the game is beautiful for sure. Dude, what do you think about the soundtrack so far, James? You put more time into it.
Well, one thing I will say too is that the backgrounds are beautiful. There's like little details. Like Olaf noticed these crazy things, like the subway sign in the station. The subway stations are named X, X2, 2, S, and R, which are the Guilty Gear versions of the game. Because Sign and Revelator and X and X2 and stuff. Like, that's actually really neat. And he was even saying, like, that you can see, like, 3 trash cans. One says trash, one says recycle, the other says magical items. Like, like they just have this interesting world building kind of thing. It's just really neat.
What do you think about the fact that the 2 vampire characters have the same snap and finger gun, Slayer and Nagoriyuki?
I didn't notice, really.
You haven't seen that? Yeah, there's a GIF going around on Twitter where of both characters, obviously Slayer's not in this game, but in the last game, having the same, like, kind of look at it. It's super cool. So I'm taking this to mean that, in general, vampires have a culture of their own, and they have, like, all of their own gestures and stuff, and they... Right? That's I think the implication. That's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah, and they have the same lying down pose too, right? So where
they do, yeah.
I didn't think about that. I'll pay attention to that. Okay.
Laying down on their head like that. So
I think that's so sick. Yeah, the backgrounds are really cool. I really like the background with the huge like ships rising up out of the clouds. I think that one's really beautiful. But they're all cool.
I don't know. The music. I think the music is pretty sick so far. I like the music. I thought the lyrical music would actually be a little more disruptive, but again, like it just after a while, it just starts. It's just background music. Like it's. I don't know. It hasn't really bothered me, and every time I realize it's going, I kind of enjoy it a little. So I'm positive on the music right now. So.
Look, man, smell of the game. That song slaps.
You're actually into it, not ironically.
That song slaps.
You're into it for real.
I know who I am. That song goes hard. How can the people hate that?
That part of the song I'm not into, but it kind of goes into a more instrumental part later on in the song that I do think is pretty sick, actually.
I think it's like the new Indestructible, man. I think a lot of people are going to hate on it for a while, and they're going to grow to love it.
Okay, but Indestructible, nobody who nobody who came from other games and then went into Street Fighter 4 as like an experienced fighting game player heard Indestructible and thought it was cool. Instead, all that happened is that new players started playing Street Fighter 4, and that's the game that they're used to. It's their nostalgia game, so they associate this music that's actually pretty bad.
Are you telling me that you don't like Indestructible?
Yeah,
It's actually pretty bad.
Are you saying you don't miss Indestructible, David?
Correct. Absolutely correct.
How dare you? How dare you? I'm offended.
You're
sir.
just looking at it with rose-colored earmuffs.
No, that song slaps too. It's like
Well-
the Pokemon theme song. It's just
Feel
so
it coming
uplifting.
over me. I feel it all around
Exactly.
me.
All these
Oh,
old
Lord,
niners
man.
in here. God, I'm the only one who's an old school head, I guess. Anyway, I mean, whatever. We'll see what music. All the stuff that I've heard, most of the stuff that I've heard, I feel like before this actual beta, I wasn't super into. But now, as I've been watching the beta today, I find myself being like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. So I don't know. We'll see. Let's talk about the
gameplay.
Yeah, which we
Talk
haven't.
about
We
the actual game.
talked about 25 minutes of non-gameplay so far.
I know.
Yeah, let's talk about the actual gameplay. What do you think about it, James? You having fun?
So it's still, I mean, it's interesting because it still feels like Guilty Gear. Like it still feels like Guilty Gear, but
Shocker.
I will say the one thing that still bothers me is just the absolute gutting of the Gatling combos. Honestly, like and shout outs to Wheat Lad here for the gift subs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Wheat Lad.
But the way they've gutted the Gatling system is kind of rough. I mean, to be fair, in the old Guilty Gear games, it was every character had its own unique Gatling. Like there was general rules, but depending on the character, whatever. Now every character has the exact same rule set for the Gatling, which is kind of nice. Gatlings being the chain combos, of course, but it's really limited, and it's kind of, I don't know, like that part kind of robs it a little bit. But I'm using Potemkin, so I don't feel it as badly. But even things like in the beta, the previous beta, where Kai could do crouching light punch, link crouch light kick into sweep, because you couldn't Gatling those, you could link. They took that away. You can't do that anymore. Like they were just like, nope, sorry. And yeah, it's weird. Like I'm not sure I like that part, but using Potemkin, obviously I kind of avoid that a little bit, and so for me the game still feels very Guilty Gear-ish. And I mean, I've always loved Guilty Gear. It's kind of one of those situations where it's gonna almost be impossible for me to speak ill of the gameplay, because you know it is the kind of game that's for me. Like people like today, people probably watching me, and I was actually winning. You know, like nobody's ever watched.
James beat Leffen and took a round from Haitani and Eita and somebody else who was you beat Fenrich.
I beat Fenrich. I will never play Fenrich ever again in my entire life, because I can now be 100% over Fenrich in Guilty Gear StrIVe. I will never play him again. I mean, this is the funny thing is, like, High Fights come and watch me play in, you know, Street Fighter on my stream, and I just get bodied all day. I played High Fight and I managed to win, like, was it 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 6 or something like that? You know, like, it's just all these people that are so accustomed to watching me lose all the time. Like, I finally have this game that suits my style, that is for me, and like it just felt so good to be able to play this game and just make these wild call outs and just play and just, I don't know, it just felt great to me, man. It just
We're gonna see how you feel about this in a couple days, buddy, when my May dolphins are splashing in your face over and over again, alright?
True.
We're gonna see just how good you feel about yourself after that, James.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna be zoning out with Axel. I'm just gonna be pressing P and jump slash and stuff.
Well, I couldn't
He's
kill
like,
Axel. I couldn't beat any of the Axels. That's a bad matchup. But Obviously, this is also grappler syndrome as well too. So
Yeah, and that was our experience too. I remember us talking about that in the last beta that they had, where Potemkin was just really simple. It's just like a very simple character. I mean, I'm sure eventually there'll be more complexity in it, but like day 1 or day -60 or whatever we're at, pretty obvious character, right? Like you know what you're doing more or less. You like look at the character and you're like, well, here's the things. And other characters not like that. Like I watched Ringe and Li Joe playing with Zato, and they're two people who have played that character quite a bit in previous versions of the game. So they're coming at it with experience. Maybe that actually kind of hinders them because they're trying to, like Joe was trying to get used to the Gatling system and stuff. But they're whatever you're supposed to do with Eddie is like with Zato, you're not going to know like day 1 or day -60. But Potemkin, you basically know. So I think that's I don't know if that's gonna last.
That's not all I'm trying to say. Why I was 1-1 versus Joe and 2-0 versus Ringe. Okay, like
dang, let's go, James. First of all, I didn't say it. I didn't say that was the reason.
Don't take that away from me, David.
I will not. I think you played sick. I told you that. I think that's so cool. Yeah, the game looks really interesting. They put out a little guide on some of the game mechanics. They talked about like. The blocking, various takes on that, instant blocking and what that does, and faultless defense, and IB plus FD, and there's not, there's air blocking generally, which previously I guess wasn't the case. Only a few things are not air blockable, and that's different. But if you air block something in the sky, like I saw Justin block a Kai anti-air dragon punch, and it was actually either safe or plus for the Kai, and the risk went up hugely on Justin's side. Even though things are air blockable, there's still good benefits to doing anti-airs even on block. And Pot gets a mix-up. If you do anti-air heat knuckle, they come down to you and your plus frames and you get a mix-up and their risk is way up. So there's still stuff like that. It does, though, it looks to me a little bit more grounded, but also at the same time, some people who I saw playing were just like bunny hopping constantly. So I don't know how that's going to go.
Yeah. I mean, man, like, I don't know. Like I said, I was just, it just feels good. The game just feels good for me. There was something else I wanted to say, but Jasmine is going nuts right now, attacking something, and I'm just trying to figure out what it is.
Good girl.
And I've lost my mind there, but
well, let's talk about the characters, right? Or is there anything else to say about the game overall?
Yeah, let's go to the characters, and maybe that'll help me remember. Oh, yeah, I wanted to mention, like, they've just made a lot of really smart decisions in this game so far. So the instant blocking, for example, doesn't give you extra frame advantage. There's no extra frame advantage here. However, it just makes it so you don't get pushed back at all. So now there's kind of this knowledge thing. Like, if there's a move that's plus on block, you don't want to instant block that move, because now you're just letting them be plus right next to you. And if there's a move that normally pushes you too far away so you can't punish it because it's negative, then you instant block it and you're right next to him. Like, I got away with a lot of hammer falls with Potemkin because I would hammer fall, but it pushes them so far away their buttons couldn't punish me in time. If they instant blocked it, then I would just be sitting right next to them and then they could punish me, you know. So it's really smart that they did that. And then a lot of people have talked about it. Sarvitz came in my stream and he just had all these ideas of what to do, what to test out. And one of them was, let's try out all the stupid option select, hit block option selects with the super long counter hits, you know, the pow. So can I just option select everything? They have designed the game so that every button after it connects can be canceled for the rest of the move. So you can cancel the move pretty much during any of its recovery frames. So if they block the move and you do a late special move, the special move is coming out. It's just coming out. So they figured out a way to get rid of the options. It was something that they realized could be a problem, and they figured out a way to remove that option select. You can still react to a counter hit because the pause is so long just by having natural reactions. Like, you hit heavy punch, it's like counter hit, okay, cancel. But it's not for free option select stuff like that. So it's they just did a really smart job with the game. It's really nice.
If I recall correctly, Instant Block plus FD pushes them far, right? I think that was
super far. Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
So
it's like
on
a
those
push
things,
block. It's like a push
it's like
block.
I was just gonna say, yeah, that's how it seems to me. So if there are things that are plus on block and you want to be nowhere near them, then you can gain that
Yeah,
distance.
that's super sick.
And if you're in the air and you're air blocking these things that will make your risk go way up, if you faultless instead, then that doesn't happen.
Right.
So there, it does work differently for sure than previous games, but it still seems really interesting to me. Kind of like the ideas of when to block and how to block and all that sort of stuff. Still seems pretty detailed, which is cool.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Any worries that the game was going to be too simple, I think, are completely unfounded, because there's some crazy complex stuff in this game. The whole Roman cancel system has gone to this other direction now. Now there's these Roman cancel drifts, which are super important. Like, that's why they shortened the range on Potemkin's Potbuster, because if it was any farther, like, RC drift into Potbuster would have been the stupidest thing in the world, right? So,
what do you mean by that? What is RC drift?
So RC drift is, before you do the Roman cancel, you tap either forward, back, up, or down, and then you Roman cancel. And you can move in those 4 directions. When you Roman cancel, you'll slide forward, right? Now, what's interesting is there's 2 phases of the Roman cancel. When you activate the Roman cancel, there's an initial explosion, and when the explosion hits the enemy, it slows them down. It puts the clock over them. You can cancel before that explosion hits the enemy. So in other words, if I Roman, I can do a move right away, super fast. So it's just like, Roman, do a move. Now, as soon as you do that, there's no slowdown. So, like, if Kai does an attack and you do we were testing this. If Kai does a button and you Roman cancel and hit him with the slow motion, you might be able to hit him before the move continues animating. But if you cancel right away, there's no slow motion and he just chops you in the face, right? But for Potemkin, you can do an RC drift forward and cancel that into Potbuster. So the trick that I've been using is low jab, which has great range, into 6K, which is the dab move where he slides forward. But the low punch causes such little hit stun that I do 6K and then tap forward and hit the Roman cancel again. So I blend the 6K into the Roman cancel. He dashes forward and I cancel into the Potbuster right away. So that's what when you see me go low jab, but bam, and then I just grab them super fast. It's
like something that.
There's some crazy things that you're gonna be able to do with this RC drift. Like, it's interesting, and
the RC is a little different because they have to be in this hitbox of the RC, right, to actually get slowed down. Whereas previous games just slowed down.
Yeah. So
if you're not next to the opponent, then you don't get at least that side of the RC effect.
Yes. Yeah. Correct. And so there you go. It's
got to be why they gave Axel the time stop super, right?
I mean, the time stop super. I mean, Axel has always been his lore is that he travels through time and he freezes time and stuff. But I don't know why everybody was oh my god, this move is gonna be broken, because really, honestly, it's gravity squeeze. Right? Nobody.
I don't think it even is. I don't think it hits everywhere like that. I think it's a hitbox that moves.
Oh, I'm not 100% sure. You can block it, but gravity squeeze hit the whole screen. You didn't see people gravity squeezing moves all over the place. You know what I mean? That just wasn't a thing. So I don't know
gravity squeeze costs 3 meters. This costs half a bar.
Right.
It's a bit different, man.
I'm just saying it doesn't hit full screen instantly. That's all I'm saying. It's got travel speed. I think anyway. I'm just saying I think that's why they gave it to him, because whereas other characters are up close in a range where they can make the opponent slow down with RCs, Axel is oftentimes not going to be there at all. He's too far for that. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought that was interesting.
There's a lot of weird things you can do. Like if you air dash over somebody and they hit a button, you can Roman cancel in the air, hit them with the slow-mo so you can land and then still punish them.
Wow.
I was actually
jump in A groove activate. Dang.
Yeah, I was fighting against the computer. I made Kai jump up, land, and do a standing kick, and I Roman canceled close enough to him so that it hit him while the kick was out, and then I could super him with soul, like on reaction. It was pretty crazy. But again, like you look at the system of this Roman cancel, there's this early cancel, there's this late cancel, hits him, slows down, dude, there's nothing simple about this game. Right? Like, it's not like a dumbed down fighting game at all. It's still very Guilty Gear crazy, to be honest with you. Now, I don't say that as a way to discourage people who want a simple game to get into it, because I really don't think there is such a thing as a simple fighting game. We've talked about that a lot, right? The three of us talk about that a lot. And, you know, I went on a rant at one point, like, everybody has to understand when you first play a fighting game, ignore 50% of the mechanics. You know, play without them. And then once you start figuring out why you need them, then you can start incorporating them into your game.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It looks super cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the characters. So you're playing Pot. I played Pot in the last beta as well. What do you think about him?
I mean, he feels really good right now. I feel like once people get used to him, he's gonna have a little bit of trouble. Just it's grappler syndrome again, you know what I mean? Yeah. But we'll see how that goes, because obviously we might be able to discover more tech for Potemkin as well. But right now he feels good. The command grab, I mean, it hasn't been since maybe Third Strike Hugo or just original Street Fighter 2 that an SPD has felt that beefy. You know, that you just, like, I grabbed Milia. She had like 50% of her life, and I was like, I think she's dead, and then she died, and I was like, oh God,
sick.
Feels so good.
She got what she deserved.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he looks super cool. I mean, again, I said this on Twitter, but I'm intending to play Axel, but Potemkin just looks very satisfying. Like a very satisfying character when things do go right, and that's going to be hard for me to resist. He looks really, really fun. Maybe I'll just play both. But I think he looks really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that there's enough room in this game for you to learn multiple characters. I really do feel like that it's possible to do that. So, but,
it makes sense. And speaking of Axel, he seems really popular. A lot of people that I was watching were playing him or were playing against him. I don't know that I saw, well, nobody was doing like optimized stuff. I don't even know what that would be, but just the basic game plan is like legit, and bringing out the time stop super was really fun. Seemed like a really useful thing in some cases, but you know, you're taking a bet on your meter with it.
Right, exactly. And that's the thing, right? Like I said, it still feels like Guilty Gear. Axel is still Axel, man. Like it felt very similar, except now he has an air special move. So every time I block his stupid jumping slash, I keep thinking it's time for me to move in, but then he cancels into a special move, and I walk into that all day. But
for sure.
Honestly, though, I mean, he feels really strong right now. I really do feel like he's pretty strong right now.
Have you played against a Chip? Have you seen a Chip? I actually haven't even seen anybody use Chip.
I have not played against a Chip, because if I had played against him, I would have tried to pop buster him with everything that I had, because I would have wanted to see how much damage that did. Weirdly, I didn't see any Chips, I didn't see any Mays, and I didn't see any Fausts, which is really weird. Just really
because
really
people
weird.
are already spouting off that Faust is weak.
Really?
I've seen a lot of Twitter fingers. Oh, Faust sucks. Faust sucks.
Is that so?
Yeah, they think his buttons are bad. So
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting.
Goichi played Chip? Okay. Well, what was that?
Maybe that's why we just haven't seen many Faust players. People are avoiding him.
The characters that I've seen a lot of, I would say, are actually Axel and Potemkin. I've seen a lot of Zato. I don't know that much about how he was previously, so I can't really talk about how he's different, but he looks cool. I mean, he looks cool to me. I don't know. What do you think?
Faust?
Zato.
Oh, Zato.
Oh.
Zato? I mean, I know, like, Ringe was saying that he felt like a very weak version of Zato. It's like, I got into situations where I'm just in the corner. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Stuff is happening. I thought it would be a little clearer because Eddie is a little more visible now, but I still feel like he probably has a lot of potential to be as scary as he normally is, but they were probably trying to also be careful not to make him too powerful at this point. So, Sako was popping off on Zato? Interesting. Okay.
Who was popping up on Zato?
Sako.
Zynac, our savior, the hero of the FGC has arrived. Hi, Zynac.
Hey!
Thanks for
Zynac.
saving fighting games.
Yeah, we were praising you earlier, Zynac, as the savior of fighting games
Our Lord.
right now. So, because
Yep,
my experience on the netcode was just all good, man. It was ridiculous, dude.
It looks super good. So I saw Milia. You played against Leffen's Milia. I watched a little bit of Leffen play that character. She looks really fast and good. I don't know. What did you think?
She's gonna be still kind of a dirty mix-up character because one of the new systems they added to the game was dash canceling jump attacks. This was never possible before, right? This was never something that actually existed, but now it does, and Milia's air dash is so fast. And so a lot of times I would just block a jump and attack and he would cancel into an air dash and do another button. I would crouch and get hit, you know, so she's going to have a lot of weird mix-up things, and she can do the meaty disc, although it's not, like, off of sweep, it's not meaty enough. You can kind of jump and air block and do some kind of thing, so I'll have to see how it feels in actual combat, but I mean, a lot of the things that Leffen was doing once the offense started going, it was terrifying. You know, biggest problem is Milia takes 50% damage from a pop buster, so it's just like I only needed to be right twice.
Like I said, she knows she deserves.
Yeah.
Well, he needs it. He needs it.
Yeah, and but she feels like she's going to be pretty standard Milia. You know, Soul feels like he's going to be pretty... I didn't fight a lot of Souls now that I think about it, which is interesting. Weirdly enough.
I watched a bunch of Leo because I watched Giuna and then I watched Tasty Steve play for a while. And he looks good. He looks pretty wild.
He looks silly.
He does. He does. He looks really strong and fast and scary for sure. I got
slaughtered by a couple of Leos. So.
Nice.
Yeah, he looks silly.
Ramlethal seems like she's quite different. Again, I don't really know, but this is what I've heard other people saying.
Sonic Fox has been using her.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I saw a little bit of Fox playing with her, and I saw also James play against a Ram. Maybe it was somebody else I saw playing against Ram. Anyway, I watched Ram a little bit, and she looks good. I just don't know that much about what she did previously.
Completely different character. Character. Because before she was about planting the swords and having the sword swing and control space and stuff, and then you're going to hit the things and try to knock them down and stuff like that. But now she basically just only can throw the sword as a projectile, and if it hits the wall, it explodes and stuff. And then they eventually drift back to her, or she can do the super to pull them back. But that's the only time she really lets go of the sword is when she throws them like that. They don't plant and stay in a spot and cover spaces and stuff like that. So she's a character I want to look into. I don't know what her game plan will be, so I'm going to have to go watch what Sonic Fox is doing.
Yeah, they look really cool with her. Giovanna, when they had the little character starter guide, and previously she just looked real dry, and then, in my opinion anyway, gorgeous looking character, but like less of anything than I guess I was expecting. As far as watching her today, though, like, you played against somebody who purported to be like IGN Korea, and their Giovanna actually looked really sick, like really fast and scary mix-ups, and it didn't look dry after all.
I got absolutely blown up by a Giovanna player whose name apparently read Eita. I don't know if it was actually Eita or not. Probably was. I mean, given yeah. So,
but the only people playing right now are people who were fancy enough to get invited specifically for this influencer stuff. So I feel like all these people who are playing as whatever names, like, it's actually them.
Yeah, I was just fighting, and then like I got destroyed, and some in the chat's like, I think that's Eita. That's what the name says, and I was like, oh god, well that explains it.
She still looks super stale to me, man. I mean, she obviously is scary.
Yeah.
But part of what's scary about her is that she is stale. She does a special move, and oh hey, now I'm in your face, and now I can do this other special move that crosses up, and I'm safe. And
plus I think.
Yeah, that burn kick is plus.
She gets to continue pressure over and over, but it's not exciting pressure. It reminds me it's like Bardock. I think she's
Right,
the Bardock
okay,
of this
okay.
game, where like everything she does is very clearly strong, but that doesn't make it exciting, you know?
Right. Yeah.
She just doesn't use the dog, you guys. Like that's the only thing that really trips me up about it. Like
what a
it's
dropped opportunity.
She
her
does
animations are still
sometimes.
so cool, even though the dog doesn't do anything. She looks so sick on every button that she does. But it's just like she's got a green scarf. That's all. It's not a dog.
The dog sweeps for her. Her sweep is the dog kicking.
Is that true? Okay.
She
One
also
move?
swings the dog in one of her special moves. When she does the cannon drill, the dog turns into little electric spikes around her legs. And then when she does the triple kick move, this is probably my favorite one. She leans really far back and kicks 3 times, but she uses the dog for balance.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
She leans on the dog and kicks like this, and it's actually kind of neat. But yes, for sure, she doesn't do as much with the dog as I thought. Like that super with the beautiful camera angle from above towards the end, by the way, is probably the most that the dog actually does.
Anyway, she looks really
Most of
cool
us-
regardless.
Yeah, I'm seeing most of us were expecting like a go puppy type situation.
Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't have anything like that.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. And then let's talk about, Nagoriyuki. He looks so cool. He looks so sick.
He does.
Very interesting character. He looks cool. He's got these huge buttons. He's got a command grab. He's got command dashes. He can
He's
cancel specials into specials. It's very cool. The blood meter is very
scary,
interesting.
dude. He's scary.
Right.
His buttons cover like half the screen, dude. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And I really need to start looking at the blood meter, because that thing is safe on block, and if you get hit by it, like, he's clearly good. So in order to really take advantage of it, you just have to be aware of it and try to get away from him, right? But if he knows it's about to pop and he's right next to you and you block it, there's nothing you can do about it. So he's a crazy character. I get why they gave him the blood meter. Because honestly, if he didn't have the blood meter, he would just basically go wild. He's the new Sin. He's basically Sin, but instead of draining a food meter, he builds up a blood meter. You know, kind of the same thing. If you drain all your food meter, then he's vulnerable. And if you fill up your blood meter, he's vulnerable. They're very similar in that kind of style.
The blood pop, is that actually safe on block?
The pop, yeah. I think.
I saw in the tutorial video, but it was questionable if it was actually safe or not. It looked kind of...
I'll have to lab it and find out more. I'm not 100% sure, so...
I do know that people said that they could super through that animation. I've seen people tweet that.
Interesting.
So he's not invincible or anything. Oh, people are saying it guard breaks, so
Okay.
you don't want to block it.
Yeah. And keep in mind, too, the guard breaks aren't real guard breaks. Like, when you block a Fafnir, you see the character go... like a standard guard break animation, but if you Roman cancel that and attack again right away, they can block. So they're kind of doing some of the stuff that that Capcom looked like they started trying to do with Street Fighter V, where some of the moves were obvious that they were punishable because the animation was kind of stuck, and it looks like they actually added some reels for particular moves that put you in longer block stun, so you know you're negative and stuff like that, because there's a couple of moves that do that, including like Potemkin's, that new flame move that I forget that he has. So
Yeah. That move looks sick. Well, anything else to say about StrIVe?
Kai was Kai.
Kai, right. Didn't talk
Kai
about Kai.
was
Yeah.
Kai. That's all I'm gonna say about him.
Well, I did watch Kizzy play for a little bit, and Kizzy, I mean, he's a super good, talented player, but he was saying like that he kept getting caught off guard, finding himself doing things from old Kai, just Gatlings and stuff like that that aren't really the same anymore.
Right. I mean, like, Potemkin not being able to do stand slash into sweep was kind of painful, but
Right.
Fortunately, that was like the extent of it. Whereas, like, if you're Kai, nothing works as you would have expected it to. So.
Oh, is he playing Nago now?
Oh,
Okay.
cool.
Yeah, I saw him
Yeah.
playing Yuki last night.
Did you? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
There
cool.
were-
That character again looks really sick.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna add instant kills. I kind of doubt it, but so far they're not in the game at all. So we'll see.
Well, I haven't played the newest beta yet. I didn't pre-order it again because I am loyal to my local mom and pop. So while you guys have the early beta, I'll have the early actual video game on release. So take that, everybody.
Who's to say we won't get that too?
That's what I'm investing in. Okay, fair enough, I guess. But that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping I come home with the game. We'll see. Anyway, so if you have pre-ordered it, then you have access to it tomorrow on the 17th.
Yep.
Or today on the 17th, I guess, depending on where you live. But on the 17th. And then everybody else gets it the day after that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Man.
And you don't have to have bought it or whatever. You can just try out the beta at that point.
Yeah.
But you should buy it and support
I'll be doing.
games with good rollback netcode.
One last thing I do want to add, shout outs to Arxis giving us this beta with the full training mode in there. I mean, it's just...
Right, yeah. Yep.
We've always said that. Give us this game with training mode. And they did. And it's just I know they probably wanted to test waiting for matches in training mode to see if that worked, But at the same time, just the fact that they gave it to us is just, oh man, to be able to lab stuff. Like I said, when I streamed it at 2 a.m. last night, but all I did was systems testing. That's all. I played one match and then the beta ended. But otherwise, it was all systems testing. It was just people in the chat were like, try this. What's the tech window? Do this. See what happens when you try this. And we discovered that if you do faultless defense, if you block heavy attacks, it drains more meter than it does if you block lights and stuff. We're just figuring out all these systems and stuff so much that I can't even remember half of them. I'm gonna have to go through the video.
Did you test the one thing I asked you to test, James?
Which one was that?
Is there chip kills?
Yes, there was chip kills. Yes, I definitely died by chip kills several times today.
With his face.
Yeah. So there you go.
Cool.
All right, let's get out of here. We've been talking about this for an hour now.
Yeah.
Dang, we budgeted 30 minutes and we went slightly overboard.
I mean, I figured. I didn't say anything because I figured that would happen.
Yeah. I didn't know it was going to take
a lot about
Guilty
here.
We did. There's a lot to say. It's going to be a sick weekend.
I mean,
Lots
frankly,
of stuff to watch.
The next topic is almost just as kind of sick and exciting as well. So.
All right. Well, let's talk about this next topic. Street Fighter V, the winter update happened. And they talked a lot about a lot. Before we get to the actual stuff, I just want to say I really liked the way that they did it. It was about 30 minutes, a little bit less, and they had people who are actually working on the game there, Woshige, the director, the producer, that stuff, and they just got right into it. They just immediately hopped into interesting info. They talked about background stuff in the development. They then talked about Rose. They talked about Dan. They had Dan doing the new V-shift mechanic, and then immediately they were like, I bet you're wondering what that's about. And they immediately talked about it, and then they talked about some balance changes, and then Steve Aoki was in there somewhere. And the whole thing was really nicely done. It was simultaneously just long enough and concise. It was just a really nicely done project. So hats off to everybody involved, IMO.
Yeah. Honestly, when the first Guilty Gear match videos were coming out and people were like, well, they should have just kind of choreographed it more to show off more stuff. Watch that Dan versus Dan video that they put out. They showed knockdown dash timings. They showed plus on block situations. They showed little, here's this random counter hit, in this situation. They put and then they saved the V shift for the very end to make everyone go, what?
What was that?
I am convinced that they did that with a TAS. I feel like they put all those inputs into a computer and had to play. Because at the end of the second round, the one Dan almost dies by 1 pixel.
Yep.
Almost exactly 1 pixel. And somehow lives. That's... They must... If that wasn't just random the whole way this played out with V-shift wake up at the end, that they must have played 1,000 games to get that exact stuff going on. It was just really awesome. Anyway, I loved it. I thought it was really nicely done. And hats off to them for having so many people who did co-streaming too. They had a whole co-streaming project for it, which was also very cool. Just really nicely done on all sides. IMO. The gameplay that they showed. So let's talk about, I guess, in order. So they talk about Rose. We find out some stuff about Rose. She isn't done. I mean, you can see that there's still some animations that are being worked on. The stage doesn't have lighting yet, but as far as her options, she has familiar stuff, and then she has brand new stuff. So she has like slide, and she has stand medium kick that looks like maybe it's airborne. I don't know, like it was before. Yeah, but then she also has air fireball, and she also has some tarot card mechanic with the V skill. So she's got this mix of things that are both old and new. It's cool.
Yeah.
One of the things that I do want to say, and like, this is not just unusual for Capcom to do something like this. This is unusual for any Japanese company, in my opinion, to do something where they showed a clearly unfinished character and stage, lighting, animations, and stuff. Usually a lot of the Japanese companies just won't put that out because it's like, oh, it's embarrassing to put that out, and everyone's gonna talk. Like, I was actually really pleasantly surprised and happy that they were willing to show us and get us excited about this kind of thing, despite the fact that, you know, Rose, like, look at Dan, right? His critical art animation was amazing. And, like, you know they're going to tweak Rose as she goes a little bit more. So, like, the fact that they were willing to show her kind of in an unfinished state just to give us information, I just thought that was really cool. Like, that's the kind of thing that we want from these fighting game companies, right? Like, to get that kind of information, honestly.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not even necessarily just Capcom doing it, you know? We're getting a lot of early footage from we got a lot of early footage from StrIVe. DBFZ has been, I don't want to say early stuff, but they've been pretty open about how things are going. Like, a lot of these companies are doing a really, really good job. Soul Calibur with the greatest patch notes ever. You know, like, a lot of these companies are doing really, really great things for fighting game players all of a sudden. And it kind of, with, you know, with Guilty Gear answering the question of how will the netcode be, I feel like this is like a rebirth for fighting games now. We didn't have tournaments for a year. We've been online. Now all this stuff is coming out, and possibly by the end of the year, definitely, hopefully next year, we'll be back to normal, for whatever that means. Like, it's kind of a cool time to be a fighting game player.
Totally. There's a lot of good news. We'll talk about even more coming up as well. So Rose, I think, looks really cool. I'm happy that she's got some different stuff, and I was also happy that the Rose players I know were also happy about her stuff. Sometimes when characters are redesigned to some degree, like people who are characters or players of that character before don't end up playing Blanca in Street Fighter V, for example, right? I mean, Tubbo loves that character in 4 and not in 5. But for this Rose, she, like, I saw Luffy was happy, I saw Filipino Man was happy. Like, that's really cool to have a kind of newish character that people are still excited for.
It's because they got their backdash too.
Yeah, exactly. They did, yeah. In the end,
you're gonna see like, there's going to be a full 3-bar V-trigger, and you're going to see Filipino Man just go V-shift, V-shift, V-shift. He's like, whatever, I don't care.
Out of there. Yeah, no, she looks interesting. We'll, I'm sure, find out more about the V skill, but it looks like it could be cool. Looks like there could be some statuses that she applies to the opponent. We'll see. Let's talk about, or anything else to say about Rose? We said it.
Real cool.
She does, yeah. Let's talk about Dan.
Dude.
I've been honest about this the whole time, everybody. I was a Dan player in Street Fighter 4. I didn't need him back. As soon as they announced him, that was one of my first responses. I don't need this character. Who needs Dan? Nobody asked for Dan.
Right.
And now I'm so excited for the character because he looks so
dope.
Sick.
Yeah, he looks dope.
He looks really interesting. He's got such a cool set of options, very unique in the context of the game. His V skills, both V skills and both triggers, all look effective. They look like you can do creative stuff with them as well, which I'm super happy about. They let new things happen, like a 1-bar V trigger that we've been saying for 5 years would be cool if one character had a 1-bar V trigger. And now they do have a character who has that. He has what appear to be plenty of plus on block frame situations, plenty of hit confirms, plenty of like the stuff that you need to be good in SF5, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, he looks like he could be really good.
they clearly did not have any plans to make him bad. Like, they're gonna make him silly, right?
Oh,
I mean, the fact that his air taunt is him doing this, you know, and dude, like, that picture that Hi-Fi tweeted of him doing that to Ryu, and I responded with, "You hear that sound? That's the sound of me being higher tier than you, Ryu." Because it's so true, dude. Because he's like, he looks so good, dude. Like, it's I might not use him, but I'm like happy for everybody who wants to play him. Like, I know you're probably excited to play him. I know like Corey Bell, who was a Dan player in 4, is like really excited now and stuff.
You know who's pumped for Dan is Flexo, Mike the Bonus.
Oh yeah,
really? Mike's gonna play Dan?
He's pumped for Dan. Dude, yeah.
Nice.
He looks so damn cool. I mean, I can't blame anyone for thinking that because he does.
He actually does, right? Yeah, He is silly, right? Like James was saying, but he's silly in a cool and interesting way. It's a really nicely done job, dude. Anyway, I'm excited for it. I'll definitely be playing Dan. I feel like there's a lot of creativity that can go into how you use that character, and I'm excited for that. Really.
Oh, yeah. That actually makes sense, Rizal. Sanford Kelly is excited for Dan, too, because he played Dan in Street Fighter 4. That was the character that he used in the bar fights too to blow up West Coast.
Yeah. That was a bummer. That was an early Street Fighter 4. And SoCal thought that we were the best. And then East Coast came out and basically stomped. And that was including with their secondaries. So.
Yeah. They stomped our A team with their mains, and then they were like, let's get these other SoCal players, because it was 5-0, and then they're like, let's get these other SoCal players. These are the real up-and-comer guys and stuff like that.
Real up-and-comers.
East Coast was like, we won. Like, why would we do this, right? Like, we won. So they're like, fine, we'll only do it if we could all use our secondary characters. So they played their secondary characters, and they beat us 5-0.
Yep,
they
sure did. It was a blow up. It was a tough weekend.
I mean, honestly, that was history right there, because that started Vi going to Shiggle BMX's garage because he was so sad at how bad SoCal performed, and like that created level. Like, that was history right there. Honestly.
Elimination. I remember when Vi used to run the elimination garage. You guys remember that?
We were there for that. Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay, yeah. That was a different time, man.
Yep. Anyway, Dan looks really cool. Would I stop playing Honda for him? I don't know. But like, he will definitely be in the rotation for sure.
Right.
For sure. I'm really excited. Let's talk about. Is there anything else to say about Dan?
No.
You guys got more? All right. Let's talk about the other character kind of that they showed off. They showed off 11. 11 is basically the Mokujin of the game. You pick the character, and then the character randoms itself into picking whatever character and also random V-trigger, V-skill combination.
It's
and
just
then
glorified random select.
It's Mokujin.
That's all it is. I wouldn't call it Mokujin. Mokujin changes character every round. That's not Mokujin. It's glorified random select. It's cool that they did it. Like, whatever. It'll be funny to see someone beat someone else in tournament on stream with 11.
That will happen.
But other than that, like, it's just random select.
Okay. All right.
All I'm gonna say is, whoo, at him not being the 5th character.
Yes. Seriously, yes. Yes, that was. Everybody's just like, oh, why? And then they're like,
not everybody. I want to point out.
Everybody but David. Was like, why?
Like, I didn't know about the leak. I managed not to get spoiled, but you know, obviously everyone's like, oh, it's 11, and everyone was so sad. And I know a lot of people were also like, oh, thank God, when they saw the 5th character was still a question mark.
I think that was like a genius level troll from Capcom. They knew. They absolutely knew people were gonna groan when they saw 11.
Right.
So they were probably sitting back in the office laughing.
Yeah. All right. Enough about that guy. Though they also, I guess they did actually briefly show another character, and that was Oro, who they showed off at the very end with his little turtle and with Tengu stones popping up. He looked cool.
Dude, he throws the turtle into the sky and he flips in the air, and you see the little turtle face in there going, woo! when he brings out all the things and he catches it again. I can't believe I love Oro right now.
Yeah.
Why? Oro's one of the coolest. Like, he's one of the few characters from Third Strike that I think is cool.
I was halfway on board that sentence.
One of the few.
Yeah.
I was never really that enamored with Oro, but now, like, that's such a, like, because I always said that if they put Oro in the game, his turnaround animation had better be him tucking in the arm and pulling out the other arm just to do that, because I was like, how are you going to make him work? Well, they're going to make him work by holding a turtle to fight one-armed, and, like, that's just genius. And, like, the fact that he's trying to protect this turtle while he fights you, like, if his like, KO pose is, like, him on the ground, but he's still holding up the turtle, so the turtle isn't hurt, would be great, dude.
He looks really cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, they also did talk about some other stuff. V shift and V break, the new mechanic that they were discussing. We had so little faith in Capcom, you guys. Like, we were all like, it's gonna be a second super or whatever.
Did anyone blame us?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think almost nobody was like, they're going to put in a game-changing mechanic that's going to be brand new. It's totally, nobody said that. Nobody said that.
I kind of got what I wanted. I wanted a new defensive mechanic. And James kind of got what he wanted, because he wanted a new defensive, like, way to escape pressure. Yeah. So I feel like the combined power of James Chen and Brandon Brockman made this happen. You're welcome, FGC.
Congratulations, everybody. You did it.
I agree.
You did
I
it.
agree.
We did it. We did it.
Well, here's how it works. So you activate V-Shift and you backdash. And if you get touched by anything during whatever frames of that backdash, I don't really know, but it looks like it's instant until whatever period of time. If you get touched by anything, then you make the opponent slow way down, and then you can activate your V-Break, your V-Shift break, which I'm just going to call V-Break, after that, to basically come back in with another attack. Or you can choose not to do that and just have them recover, and then you just hit them right while they're still recovering, because you recover pretty quickly from this. So it is something that you can do in defensive situations, but it's also something that you can do in offensive situations, and they showed a bunch of uses for it. You know, you can get out of a command grab with it because it's throw invul. You can get through projectiles with it because you absorb the projectiles and then you do your V-break. Or you can absorb something from the opponent and then punish, like we were saying. But also, Laura can be on offense and, you know, can activate V-Shift again to, like, try to maintain more offense and try to blow up the opponent's intended counterpoke.
Stealing turns with
it, exactly. For characters who don't have EXDP or whatever, this is as they haven't been able to. And now, nobody's going to do EXDP for that because you should just do V-Break instead, right? V-Shift instead. So it seems like it's useful in a ton of different ways, and could be extremely strong. It's in the video they said that it's it doesn't have recovery frames. I forget the phrasing exactly, but like it's active. It will be absorbing stuff until it's like no longer a move anymore. Like it's all the way through the animation frames.
I don't remember that. Okay.
Yeah, they said that in there. Again, I don't remember the phrasing, but the point is it's just active the whole time. I don't know how this is going to play out. It's just such a monkey. It's not even a monkey wrench. It's a demolition ball in a game that was kind of fragile in how offense and defense worked. Over the years, people have figured out how to defend against some of the stuff that was really strong. V-trigger comebacks still happen, obviously, but like people have figured out defense a little bit more in some of the ways that you get around it by using like little intricate hitbox, hurtbox interactions, or intentionally taking flip out damage in the corner to get through a grab or whatever, and then punish. Like all these like weird little things. And now you have V-Shift. You can just do that instead. And I'm not saying that that's bad. I have no idea, right? I'm totally open to it. But it does represent, I think, a really, really big change in how the game is going to be played.
I hope so. I hope that that's what it does. I mean, I feel like that's what they were going for.
Yeah, I think so.
They're trying to inject more longevity and life into 5 as they work on 6. So why not? Why not throw a monkey wrench in? Why not?
I mean,
change things up, last year.
Yeah, there was definitely a debate online, some people saying like, well, it's not going to be that degenerate because that's a heavy price to pay if you just backdash and spend a whole V-bar and the opponent doesn't do anything, right? And then there's some people out there saying that's really not that terrible. Like, it's not, like you get away, like you're always going to get away, kind of thing.
Right.
And so it's super useful. And so it's an interesting dichotomy, and really it's going to depend a lot on things like, if you jab and trigger it, can they V-break you or recover and hit you with a button fast enough? So now, before, when Cammy used to do standing strong, low strong, she do standing strong, standing jab, and if you V-shift, she can trigger that, but then be safe on, safe and stuff like that from the V-break. There's a lot of little interesting questions. Is there any delay when it lands? Like, if Zangief just does delayed SPD, will he grab it the whole time, or can you hold up and jump away after the V? There's too many questions that we don't know the answer to really make a definitive statement on it. We don't even know how big the window is going to be that triggers the slow motion and stuff like that. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Totally up in the air. I could imagine it being good or bad for like almost any character. I try to think about this, especially the characters that I use. And I can imagine it being good or bad for all of them. Like, it's great for Dhalsim to have an escape finally. That's cool. But also, characters they show, one of the examples they showed is Zangief using it to get in on Dhalsim as well. Right. And maybe it's good for Honda because he can steal turns now. But also maybe it's bad for Honda because people do it through hands every time. Now maybe hands are useless. I don't know. Like, it's just completely up in the air. I really have no idea. So it is definitely going to represent, I feel, a big change. And I'm excited for it. I really liked the previous state of the game, so I hope that I will like the future state of the game as well. I'm totally open to that happening. I'm not coming into this being like it's good or bad. But I do feel like it's a bigger risk than I expected it to take, I guess, is what I would say about it.
I mean, if people think that it's going to be super good, that also means we're going to see less V-trigger comebacks. Right, because people are going to be spending 2-bar V triggers are going to be a little bit more important because it's not just a V reversal that you get. Now you can do 2 V shifts and then still get a V trigger.
2-bar, buddy. Listen, I'm a Dan main, and we go with 1 bar. Okay,
1 bar.
That's right. So it's kind of interesting. I mean, people in the chat are saying Daigo is kind of scared it will ruin the game.
Yeah, I've seen people say that. And I'm honestly a little worried about that too. Mm-hmm. Again, I'm open to it not being that way. I certainly hope that it's not, but I do really enjoy the current state of the game. So I hope that, like, in a week, I don't hate the game all of a sudden.
I, for one, feel like you can't really ruin Street Fighter V.
You like the game. Don't tell me this. You've been playing it yourself.
I have not played that game since December.
It was in your top
You were
3.
playing it a lot.
I was.
It was your top 3, one of your top 3 best fighting games of 2020, man. Come on.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think you can ruin it. I legitimately, like, seriously don't think this could ruin the game. Like, some people might not like it. That doesn't mean the game is ruined.
Some people will enjoy it regardless, of course.
Right, exactly.
Course.
Yeah. I don't think this would kill Street Fighter V is what I'm saying. Like, I think the population of players is only going to go up.
Right. King Wiley says in the chat that Daigo didn't say that it would ruin the game. He just feels like it will actually maybe limit the number of tournament viable characters. So that's definitely kind of a valid concern. So yeah.
Well, good thing you're doing also a full rebalance that we don't know anything about yet.
Right. I was just going to talk about this. Yeah. So we know only a few things that they showed on the winter update. There are buffs for Kage, Ed, Zangief, Nash, Ibuki, Alex, Juri, Chun, Ryu, Birdie, Sakura, and Nakali. And, you got to assume that other characters are going to get changed as well. And many of those are characters that are on the lower-ish end, maybe. But some of them aren't. Nobody thinks Chun sucks, for example. So this is going to be something that is going to be... It seems to me like what they're implying with this list that they showed is that they're just giving everybody new stuff. Like, everybody's changing in some way.
I mean, nobody thinks Chun-Li is bad, but everybody knows Hassan Shu is bad.
Yeah. But they're buffing that. I mean, they're maybe trying to be... I think, was it James? Were you the one who was talking about how you think that the fact that they're bringing in 11 and which will have random V skills and V triggers means that they're going to try to work on each V skill and V trigger to make them all legit.
Yeah, that's kind of what my theory, my prevailing theory, because it would suck to be like, oh, I'm going to pick, 11, and then you get like Chun-Li and you have Hazanshu, and you're like, come on, man, right? So I think they want to try to make it so that it works. I mean, right now, like, whether I continue playing Lucia lives and dies on this patch right now, because crouching medium kick into light burn kick is not a true block string, and so V-Shift will completely murder her. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do to make up for that, right? Because this rebalance has to also keep V-Shift in mind. If they don't actually make crouching medium kick into light burn kick, for example, a true block string, Lucia's done.
I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make changes in expectation of how V-Shift's going to work out, because, I mean, maybe, but it feels to me like it's going to make such big changes that, like, can they even predict who's going to end up good and bad with this? Like, I don't know how much they can even really predict about it.
Yeah.
Maybe they feel like they can, but I wouldn't
hard.
be. Yeah, I think so too. But for sure, at least some characters are getting buffed, and we saw that. So that's good. I'm happy about that. Geef can do Lariat V-Trigger 2 cancel. Pretty sick. I'm into it.
I mean, honestly, he should have been able to do it in the first place.
I will not oppose that. Nikali actually looks like he's got some cool juice.
He loses V-Trigger.
He does.
That's wild.
Yep, they really changed him up on that. They buffed Sakura. They buffed Birdie. Again, they gave Ryu at least something. Like, he can cancel Dragon Punch into V-Trigger 2. So I hope there's more than that, because that doesn't strike me as, like, the most important buff in the world. And, like, a specific corner combo, okay, but I hope there's more than that.
Yeah,
I'm
off
sure
of a counter hit, like jump attack and stuff, so.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see. So this stuff goes live Monday, February 22nd. I don't know if that's Japan time or if it's NA time or what. Right. I have no idea.
It'll probably be right after the Capcom Cup stuff finishes.
Right. So maybe we're talking like late Sunday.
Yep, that's what I would imagine.
Something like that. Yeah, it seems likely. A lot of new stuff. So with that's going to be these balance changes. It's going to be V-Shift. It's going to be Dan. Rose is not coming out yet. Obviously, Oro's not yet either. But that's a lot of changes to start digesting next week or Street Fighter V.
I just want Capcom just put out the patch notes like 2 days early. Get us hype, man. Get us hype and theory crafting, dude.
There's no way they do that.
I think
they're gonna put it 2 days after the patch goes out.
It does seem more likely.
That's more accurate, man.
But that's what I would have expected a couple years ago. Capcom of late 2020, 2021 is a different beast. It seems to me like they're really stepping it up. The new characters look cool.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's like they have new people in charge. I don't know.
Strange.
Oh no, is what I said when I saw how much there have been changes.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It's hard to tell if there's any sort of patterns or anything like that. So, any correlations and causations and stuff like that. So.
I'm not sure. No idea. I don't have any specific positions or knowledge on that. Is my claim. But there is, again, a lot to look forward to. Coming into next week, I am torn between whether I'm going to come into it and just be like, well, I'm playing Dan, or it depends on what they change about Honda, maybe, or Dalsum, or Zangief. Right. Like, I just feel like I don't even know which character I want to use come next week. There's so much of stuff in the air.
To get some changes.
Well, I mean, at minimum, he gets V-Shift, and that's going to change how you'll play for sure.
Will it?
Yeah, totally. I'm going to be trying to steal turns a lot with V-Shift, because in those situations of the kind of hands mix-ups, I don't have a turn stealer.
Right.
And it's a good mix-up. Like, it's not bad, right? But to have that additional thing of like, oh, you think I'm going to do something big and slow, so you're going to try to press a big button that will blow my, HP hands up. Well, here comes my V-Shift to blow you up. I'm stealing this turn. Or whatever. That's definitely... Or the opponent's defensive uses of V shift and V break are going to make me change how I'm playing. Like I have to change regardless. Like something needs to be different. So I don't know what that's going to be. I'm kind of excited for that. But as you can tell, I'm also excited for Dan to come out, and
yeah,
it's going to be cool.
Who will
what
be
a
the
time
last?
to be alive.
Someone asks who will be the last character. No idea. But a lot of people seem to be convinced that it's going to be a guest character. I wonder. I mean, my original idea was that it was going to be Skullomania, but they put Skullomania costume with G, but that could be subterfuge because you're in as a guild costume, and I've definitely gotten confused by that in the past. So
I feel like when they put the Urian Gil costume out, they didn't have plans to make Gil,
yeah, for
right?
sure.
Like, no way. Whereas right now, they definitely understand what their plans are for, I would think, for the 5th character. Anyway, we'll see. Anything else to say about Street Fighter V Winter Update?
Nope.
Not that I can think of.
Okay, cool. Well, let's take a break.
Yeah.
And then when we come back, maybe we'll get to like one viewer question because we just talked for an hour and a half about 2 subjects.
We sure did, yeah.
All right. Be right back, guys.
Yeah.
Man.
Gotta pee.
I cannot. I don't know if I can express to people how tired I am right now. Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, have you fucking slept, James?
Nope. Nope, not at all. So last night after I finished the stream, I was super hungry. So I ate something, and then I just was like lying there, and I was like, I could get 2 hours of sleep. So I climbed in bed, and I just wasn't falling asleep, and I was like, screw it. And so basically, I haven't slept in over 24 hours. No, in 24 hours? Less than I don't even know. I can't do math right now. Like, seriously. Man. Oh, I am so tired right now. Like,
Guys, chat. We know that the mics are hot. We're good.
yeah, I know.
Oh no, Tubo said fuck.
We do this every fucking time. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, man. Yeah, I know, right? We're gonna just be like, these chat guys suck, dude. Why are they all being a bunch of jerks?
Sure do hate those chat guys.
No, but thank you guys for all tuning in and watching. Hope you guys are enjoying the show and everything. Hope you guys are having a good time listening to us talk about all this stuff and listening to my cat meow at everybody. I fed you food right before the show, Nathan. Why are you doing this?
Man, he's been so needy lately.
He is so... Dude, all he does now when I eat is he stays on my lap and prays I drop food. Like, I'll drop food and this cat just jumps, like he snaps. I'm like, nah! And I have to like prevent him from trying to get some of that human food. Do you feed Miles a lot of human food?
Not a lot, but I'll share, like, he really likes crunchy, salty stuff.
Oh, okay.
So crackers and popcorn he likes, and I'll give him like lunch meat. But other than that, I don't give him any. Like, I'm not gonna like make spaghetti and share it with him, you know. But yeah, like straight up like meat, I'll let him have.
Okay.
You know, it's okay if he has a little salami. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I fed him a little piece of cheese one time, and I swear to God, that was like the biggest mistake I've ever made, because then he
Oh
just
yeah,
thought-
once you do it, they'll never stop.
he just thinks I'm gonna feed him every damn thing that I'm eating, and it's like
Every time I open my fridge, Miles runs up and rubs on my legs. Every single time.
every time you do what?
I open my fridge.
Oh,
Because that's like where I would give him lunch meat. Like, I'd be making a sandwich, and I'll give him, you know, a little piece of meat. So now he thinks every time I open my fridge, he's gonna get a treat.
God, I gotta check Nathan for that cough, man. You heard that? I mean, Nathan.
All right, ready to come back?
Yeah. Talking about our cats, and do you feed your cats any human food, David?
Nah, my cats have had digestive problems for their whole
that's
lives,
right, yeah.
so we're super strict about that, unfortunately.
makes
Yeah,
sense,
hold
makes
that,
sense.
cats.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh no, now I got the hiccups. All right, bummer.
All right.
We're coming back.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Ready?
fart
Ready?
out food. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Tuesday show, and we are moving on. Usually we have an interview. We do not have an interview for you guys, but we had plenty of stuff to talk about, so that's okay. All right.
Instead, we're doing the 5-5 matchup where we ask you to submit topics. Oh no, I have cough and hiccups. Bummer. By the way, right before we went on air, I was drinking some water and it went down the wrong tube. So
Oh no. Okay.
Oh no, it's awful. Let's get to the topics, and then I'll read through them because I'm the one who should be talking right now. That's what I'm saying.
Do you want me to
Number one,
if
the fighting game you love only has delay-based netcode, is there credence to learning and playing around online-only tactics, stuff that you could react to offline rather than offline stuff? Number two, do you have examples of when you got to a point where you think this game just isn't for me and move on? Number three, do you think netcode will ever be good enough for some form of hybrid offline-online locals or tournaments in the far future? Number four, any thoughts on collusion in tournaments related to sponsored teams, gambling, or FGC history? If you notice collusion on commentary, would you call it out or go with it? So we let our subscribers vote on which one we're going to discuss, and the winner is number 4. To reiterate, any thoughts on collusion in tournaments related to sponsored teams, gambling, or FGC history? If you notice collusion on commentary, would you call it out or go with it? I would say that the conjugation involved here is not quite right, because instead it is in the past when you've seen collusion on commentary. What did you do? Did you call it out or go with it? Because we've definitely all seen it for sure.
I don't want to say collusion, but I've definitely called out purposeful throwing. There's a top 8 combo breaker, I think. Viscant and I were on commentary, and Chris G got upset and threw the match on purpose. And I think the entire time we just talked about how stupid it was that he was throwing the match on purpose. So I don't know if you can call that collusion, but we definitely did not hold back. Like, this is dumb. This is the stupidest thing we've ever seen. He picked like random select or something, and had a crisp moment.
That's your story? Because I have the exact same story. How's that?
Are you serious?
This was that Texas Showdown in probably 2014, I would guess. I don't know exactly. And it was Chris G versus Justin, and they both picked random select in grand finals. Yeah, and we got pissed. I think I was eating a piece of pizza, and I was just like, well, if they're not going to take this seriously, I'm not going to either. I just started eating the piece of pizza on commentary. I just stopped talking for a while. I was definitely a little jerk about it, maybe more so than I needed to be in retrospect. But
frustrating as a commentator to sit there and do that.
Yeah, it was. It was.
You're taking our job real seriously. How about you take yours seriously too, Bunko?
I mean,
yeah, we definitely did call it out for sure.
The very first time it was really that public was at Evo 2004, I think it was, for the Soul Calibur Grand Finals. The two players knew each other who got into the last match, so they both played characters that they didn't really know. I think there was like a Voldo mirror match. Voldo wasn't very good, and they just played against, and they were just being jerks, and it made the grand finals terrible to watch. And the Cannons got really mad, and that's when they instigated the collusion rule in the Evo, that if they have the right, that if they suspect you guys are colluding, just to take away the prize money and just pass it down to the 3rd place and 4th place and stuff like that. So it was it was annoying too, because it was the first year like that G4 TV tried to cover it, and so they're like talking about this drama and stuff, and like, stupid people. And so yeah, a lot of people were mad about that, and it's hard to prove one way or the other. There's a lot of tournaments where some people are like, that was definitely collusion, but we're not sure, and there's no real proof. But it's something that we should always be cognizant of, and always make sure that we are willing to investigate, you know what I mean, and really just kind of get real opinions on. Now, I have seen matches that have been claimed to be collusion that were not collusion at all. Yeah, but
that's true.
It's hard.
Sometimes people just get dunked. Like, that actually happens sometimes.
Yeah.
But as far as I mean, this is the stuff that we've seen. So we're just talking about anyway. Is people splitting the pot? It's pot splitting. In fact, one of the emotes on this channel is called UCTV pot split, and it's me getting mad. I think, right? Oh no, Nathan went wild.
He attacked Jasmine for no damn reason, and I just heard Jasmine go. What the heck?
So that was for pot splitting, but for more serious stuff, I don't know that many examples of it. Like, I know a ton of pot splitting. I've pot split. All right, we've all done it. Everybody.
Wow,
yeah,
dude. You know what? You're banned. Red card.
Back in the day in locals, sure.
Red
why not?
card.
You just look at the other person and you're like, hey, so
I have never pot split because I've very rarely gotten pots. So
I'll say, have you been in grand finals? James?
Yeah, that was the follow up, of course.
No, look, I have definitely won many tournaments. Okay, against strong players. Like, don't even try, dude.
Dude, James, you beat Fenrich today. You don't need to defend yourself.
Yeah,
it's okay.
That's right, dude.
I'm gonna make you defend yourself till it's the end of the world, Bucky.
I mean, but anyway, so we definitely still played it out in each case, and I don't know that I would make that decision nowadays, but I did 15 years ago, whatever. As far as more serious stuff goes, this is asking about sponsors, gambling, whatever. We're all constantly like betting on other people's matches. But
that is true.
But I'm not aware of anybody having bet against themselves and lost on purpose,
Like
right? That's like a more
like some boxing
not
or
familiar with that.
baseball drama or something.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the White Sox scandal.
Right. I haven't heard of anything like that, and no match fixing. Again, like
not that I know of. Yeah, not that. I know of.
Like more serious type stuff. Maybe it's happened and I don't know, but I'm not aware of it. And if I was on commentary and I heard about that, absolutely I would mention it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, at least in our little context, like if I'm in South Korea and I'm commentating Brood War, however many years ago, or whatever version of StarCraft it was now, I don't remember. And like I'm a little worried about like organized crime being involved. Like maybe I don't in that case. Maybe I don't say it out loud if I knew about it. But at least as far as just like normal fighting game stuff, if I knew about it, yeah, I think we would all say, right? We would all mention that we knew about it.
That's one of the reasons why we still have Daigo in our scene, because he almost became a professional mahjong player, but didn't want to do it because the Yakuza was too far involved in that scene. So he's like, I don't really want to represent a sport that's run by the Yakuza.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. If I could be a sumo wrestler, I would still do it.
Highly run by organized crime.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. There's documentaries. Watch them; they're cool.
I've watched them. Yeah, I've seen them.
It's super cool. But yeah, I would probably still do it. I think it would just be too cool to pass up. I mean, that's cooler than being a mahjong player, though. Also,
100%.
Wait, hey,
100%.
Mahjong is awesome. Okay, don't.
I'm not even back talking mahjong. I just think sumo is like particularly sick, actually.
Yeah, sumo is just dope. That's all.
Yeah. Go work with Brandon Alexander, dude, man.
He's doing it.
Yeah, he's doing all the sumo wrestling. So.
Yeah, their lives seem really hard. People who are actually in like big stables and stuff. That seems like it's a tough existence. But it also, I don't know. It seems like a super sick sport. So. Yeah. Anything else to say on this?
No, it's bad, and we'll call it out if we can. So,
yeah.
Correct.
Well, the next two questions are tied.
Okay.
So, do you want to just answer both of them really quick?
Can we do that? Let's see what we got here.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I guess. So let's talk about number 2 first. Do you have examples of when you got to a point where you think this game just isn't for me and move on?
Yeah.
What do you got? What was your time?
Dragon Ball Fighters.
Oh, okay.
Twice, really.
Twice, okay.
Yeah. The game is cool for what it is, but I don't want to sit in a block string forever, and I don't want to get hit by cross-up super dash. And I don't want to have to worry about reacting to hard. Like, just the stuff that makes Marvel fun for me didn't feel existent in Dragon Ball Fighters.
Yeah.
So I moved on. I let it go. I mean, I still watch it. I still enjoy it from that perspective, but playing it, it's too much. It's like I feel like if I wanted to play it seriously, which I don't because I didn't have that much fun with it, then I'd have to play. That would be my only fighting game. Like I'd have to go real hard. And most people that are playing it like that is their only fighting game. So it's kind of like Marvel in that regard. But yeah, I don't know. And I just hit a point where I got tired of the stuff that made Dragon Ball Fighters, like as a player. So yeah, I guess that's my only real example. I mean, I played everything from Street Fighter to Soul Calibur to Tekken. Like I tried everything out.
Yeah.
But that was the only game that I can think of that I was like, all right, I've had enough in recent memory where I just like was done after like I played it for like a year, you know.
But not just talking about that. How did you choose like not to end up playing Tekken or whatever other game you chose not to play? Like what was it?
They just weren't fun to me, you know.
Well, okay, but I think that's what the question is asking. Like, how did you realize that it's not for you? Like, you don't need to blow up these games, right? Not every game's for everybody, but like, what is it that makes it fun that you wasn't there?
Soul Calibur needed too much knowledge from previous games for me to feel like I could catch up and enjoy. Like I played that game for about a month and I was like, this is I don't want to learn all these strings. I'm not having enough fun to like the fun to not fun of like learning hard shit like that ratio was heavily in the not fun side of the ratio for me.
I mean, for me, that's kind of how I felt about Tekken, right? I mean, Tekken, I can't say I quit the game and it's not for me and I've moved on, but I don't intend to put in as much work into Tekken anymore because I realized the game isn't for me. It's you know, like I've stated a lot of similarities between Tekken 7 and Street Fighter 5. I think they have very similar mindsets, interestingly enough. And yeah, I think one of them is enough for me right now. And Tekken, while I enjoy the game a lot, that game requires a ton of work. Like, it's interesting that you mentioned Soul Calibur because this is the first Soul Calibur I've ever played, and I don't feel like the knowledge is as brutal to learn in this game as it was in Tekken. In any case, so. Tekken was that game for me. It's just, it requires too much work. I am super happy. I'm at a point where if everyone's sitting there at a house and people are playing Tekken casually, I can play and actually know what I'm doing. I will lose a lot, but I at least can have fun. I mean, we've done that before. Like, someone's like, hey, James, let's play Tekken. And I'm like, okay, and I play, and I actually do pretty good. And they're like, wait, I thought you sucked at this game. And I was like, oh, you know, I kind of know what I'm doing. And that's good enough for me that I understand the game. You know what I mean? That I know what I'm doing and I get an idea of what I'm supposed to do. I'll never be competitive at it because every character requires its own college thesis on how to like learn how to fight that character. So I've moved on from Tekken 7, but largely because I just realized it's not the kind of game that I want to play because, you know, again, I don't think it's a particularly strong heart game, and heart games I feel like are what are important to me. Stuff like, I think, Soul Calibur, stuff like Guilty Gear, for example. So,
well, I've had this experience a bunch of times. I had it in Third Strike, which was my main game for most of the 2000s. In, I think, 2008 was when I kind of like broke up with that game. Maybe it was 2000. This must have been 2008 anyway, because it was just before SF4 came out. And I think I just got tired of losing. I don't recall the exact moment, but what the moment really was me losing with Q for the 800,000th time or whatever. And just being like, I don't feel good about this anymore. Like, this doesn't, it's not doing it for me. It was previously the case that losing, but, you know, I'm playing a character I really enjoy, was cool. It's fine with me. But eventually I just got to a point where I was like, I'm sure I could be doing better if I played another character. And I'm just tired of like driving to the arcade every week or driving to my locals when I lived on the East Coast or whatever. And knowing that I'm going to just go and lose, like, it was just a bummer. And so I decided to played, the moment actually was I decided I would play Chun-Li. And I've told this story before, but I played Chun-Li for 1 month, and then I made top 8 at a Family Fun arcade, which was the best arcade in the US. Super strong players. I'd only made one top 8 there with Q in the however many years it had been before. And 1 month of Chun, I was making top 8. And that, rather than that making me think, oh, I should just play Chun-Li, it made me think, like, I've wasted my time. This is awful. Like, all I needed to do for the last, like, 8 years was just pick a good character. And I just never did it. I don't want to do this ever again. Also, I don't want to do this pairing business, guessing anymore. And I gave up. And it wasn't for years. Now I love the game again, but that took probably 4 or 5 years for me to come back to it. And that kind of thing has happened. It happened to me in a faster turnabout in Marvel 3. Game came out. I loved it. I thought it was super sick. Then I thought that it got to a point where people's combos did too much damage and my character died right away. And I just felt like there was no neutral because it was all about one mistake or one guess and then you lost. And then I was like, this is actually terrible. So I gave up for a year or so. And then I came back to it. And now I end up really liking it, right? Like I've been through that a few times. Of just finding and in each case, well, I guess in the Third Strike case there was like a moment of me making top 8 with Chun, but in Marvel 3 I don't recall there being like a moment. Right. As far as like me picking up a new game, I'm trying not to blow this game up as much nowadays, but I will say the first time that I sat down and played Samurai Showdown, immediately James was there. Yeah. Immediately I said, I think this game's not for me. Something like that. Like it was, I think I actually jumped up into the sky with whatever character I was playing. And I immediately was like, ugh, like a revulsion. Like, I hate how this moves. I can't do this. Like I left the playtest early, like other people who were still there. And I left because I just didn't even want to do it. It was so terrible to me. And then when the game came out, I didn't find anything else that was redeeming in it, as you guys know. Again, I don't mean to blow this game up particularly. I'm not trying to like attack you guys, but that was my immediate feeling of like, the movement is not at all what I want, and I need to get out of here.
Yeah, and it also sucked too, though, that the setup that we had, and that was a version of the game that had like 8 frames of input to lag.
Yeah.
And the TV had like another 7 frames of input lag or something.
Totally.
Like,
I'm sure that did not help my impression of it.
But
it wasn't the input, it was how long it took my character to jump that really like...
Right. And remember, one of the things I was mad about was that in Samurai Showdown, you're supposed to air-to-air people as an anti-air. When they jump, you jump B them. And on that TV, I remember like I couldn't do it. I would miss with Jubei's Jump B. Jubei's Jump B, which is like the best one in the game. And I kept missing with it. And I was like, this doesn't feel like the original Sam show at all, you know?
Right.
So this is something I'm sure we've all experienced because we're not all playing every fighting game. You know, you got to prioritize which ones you prefer, which ones you don't. And there's going to be something about each game that makes you like it or dislike it. And that'll be different for all of us. But yeah, those are a few of my experiences.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Number 3, do you think netcode will ever be good enough for some form of hybrid offline or online locals or tournaments in the far future? I think what I would say about this is that we have it. We have had it for quite a while. There have already been tournaments, well, really in invitationals. I guess you'd say just tournaments where there have been qualifiers. Yeah,
I think they're asking could some people be offline at the venue? Could some people be at home and connect to people at the venue to play them online? I think that's what they're asking.
I see. Okay, interesting.
Because there's definitely been online qualifiers for offline events. That's been going on since 2009.
Forever. Yeah,
it's been going on for a long time. Yeah, I think they're asking if people could connect to the internet and play the people at the venue, you know, that didn't want to leave their house or whatever. And if that's what they're asking, what would your answer be?
I think I have heard of that happening. Maybe it was Skullgirls? Or maybe it was... I think so.
I mean...
Hadoken Lolcat says that SG Locals used to do that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's not something that was very common, but for sure it's happened before, so...
I feel like I would refuse. I don't want to be at a disadvantage because you didn't want to come to the venue. That's stupid. Like, come play or don't. That's silly to me. I would, yeah, I'd be pissed if I was forced to play the person online.
I guess I don't know. I mean, in MK11 right now, we're all so used to playing online. There's a feature you can turn on that puts in the delay that they stick in online into the offline as well, so that you can get used to it for when you play online. But if I were to play against somebody in person right now, I would have the exact same delay. I think it's 3 frames. It's 2 or 3 frames, but I forget. I would have the same delay as if I were playing a good online play match, but in person. So that actually could be fine, right? That does mean that you're getting used to like having another couple of delays, a couple of frames of delay. Maybe that's not ideal, but if a game came out where that's just how it always is, regardless of whether you're playing offline or online, it has this little buffer of delay, then I guess I could see it being okay. I don't know.
So then you're making everybody at the venue play with a delay.
Well, I'm just saying
2 or 3 people didn't want to show up.
No, I'm not saying everybody at the venue. I'm saying everybody who plays the game. Like, the game is just built in with this offline delay. I'm not saying this is good. I'm just saying I can imagine a game developer coming out with something like this.
I mean,
Outside.
I just think that it just depends on the event, right? If it's something like an Evo or a Combo Breaker or CEO, no, like you would, because those are big events. People should go out to those, and those are, you know, big kind of things. But, you know, if you're an event that wants to try something different, if you're a new event or you're just doing a small local or something like that, I don't think there's anything really wrong with it, right? So obviously it could ruin people's experience who are traveling somewhere to do something, but if it's just for a weekly in a small town where it's harder for people to get around, you know, and visit each other, or heck, maybe it's snowed in with 18 feet of snow right now, you know, and like maybe this is just what you do or something. I don't know, but like I don't see it out of the realm of possibility. I don't think it's something that we would do for a big event. If you did it for a big event, it would have to start off, like David suggested earlier, start off with the qualifiers and do all that stuff, right? Like, and then it goes to an offline thing. But to have one that's actually like a one-day hybrid kind of thing, if it's a big event, I don't think that's necessary. I don't think that's the right thing to do.
I totally agree with everybody in the chat who's saying that going to a venue in person, like the in-personness of it is so important.
Yeah.
That's a huge reason why we do it. And same with going to a major. It's like a big reason that we go is not just for the game, but the fact that it's in person. You get to see people, you get to meet people. That's obviously a huge draw. So I think it would be a bummer to have it online. Well, I guess we're living in that world. I was about to complete this hypothetical where we're just playing tournaments online, and then I was like, "Oh,
that's where we are, David.
Actually,
that's
our life, yeah." All right. Well, anything else to say?
I don't want to live in that world.
Yeah, that would suck. Oh,
this guy.
All right.
Moving on.
Other game news. There's not a lot of other stuff to say, but there's a little bit of it. KOF15 showed off the Joe Higashi trailer. And what did you guys think of that? Joe's in the game. It's cool.
I mean, from a lore perspective, it was a complete, what the hell is happening here?
Because, why? What's the lore?
Because the idea was they released the first 3 characters, and it was protagonist team, right? It's Shune and Meiten-kun and you know, and then all of a sudden they're like, here's Iori, and now here's Joe. Like, does this mean they're not revealing them in team order or what? Because Iori and Joe have like no relation. Nobody
until now. Shattered expectations.
Yeah.
They actually did shatter your expectations.
Yeah. I mean, everybody is really confused by that. Nobody can figure out what the heck is happening, or if this is just they're not doing team order. Maybe Iori is a solo entry and now they're just going to the Fatal Fury team. So tomorrow when they release the next one, everyone's just like, what the heck is going to, who is it going to be? Like, we're going to find out a lot of stuff, but
cool.
The trailer itself was pretty cool. I mean, I think Joe looked really neat, and I think the trailers are getting better. Now, obviously, we would still like to see more of a showcase for the characters, but, they're slowly getting better, so it's kind of nice.
I rewatched it today before the show, because when I originally watched it, it was the same day that the Zato starter guide came out for StrIVe, and so I made the, unfair mistake of watching, like, the most beautiful video game of all time in StrIVe, and then watching the Joe trailer, which is just... It's just, you can't, whatever game you choose to compare against StrIVe is just not going to come out on top, for sure.
I mean, I watched Justice League the day after I saw Infinity War or Endgame or something like that, and you just know, like, that movie is just going to be, like, the worst thing ever after that, so.
I mean, that movie wasn't going to be great for you regardless.
Right.
But, yeah, that's bad. So anyway, I watched it again today. I thought it looked fine.
Yeah. And
so, that's cool. Again, like I've said, I don't think the game looks great, but I don't think it looks bad. It's, like, fine. So, for me, yeah, it's cool. I think it's good. Mm-hmm. Shout outs to everybody who's excited about Joe. Shout outs to Hell Pockets. Let's move on to the next one. So, Dengeki Bunko Fighting Climax has a fan-made rollback coming in. That is super cool. There will be a beta test for this, and that starts... February 21st at noon Eastern time. It's very soon now. It's only the beginning of next week, end of this week. Again, it's just a fan-made thing. It's for the PC version of the game, but very cool that it will actually get rollback. Hopefully it'll be good, but this will be the beta test where I guess we'll see if that's true.
Jason Game Dev in the chat says that apparently the creator isn't happy with it, so it might get C indeed.
Oh no.
I hope not.
That would suck.
Creator should have put good netcode in
it. Yeah, he should have done good.
Be good, scrub.
We wouldn't have had to do this if you had done your job.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
Right, I know it's not official, yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. All right, well, see how that goes. Then there's going to be a Nintendo Direct tomorrow, February 17th at 2 p.m. Pacific time. And that's going to have...
bad guy in Smash. It's coming.
Who do you... Soul Bad Guy?
Soul bad guy in Smash.
Okay, all right. They did say that they're going to be talking about Super Smash Bros. I think not exclusively. I think there's going to be other stuff too. But at least a little bit about Smash Ultimate. And Tobo's making the read that it's going to be Soul Bad Guy.
Dude,
tell me that wouldn't be sick, though.
It would be sick, of course.
All I want is Soul Bad Guy to be in there and have the background music. That is bullshit blazing!
Oh, yeah, Nintendo, yeah.
Nintendo would have the Kids Bop version.
That would actually be so great.
It's like a Cars for Kids version or something like that.
That would be so great.
That is garbage. Go!
Yeah.
That is bullcrap blazing.
Yeah. Oh, man.
That would be so funny. Well, we'll see.
Dirk the Daring. Anyways, yeah.
It would be awesome, man. We've always said, whenever you propose that, I've always said that would be cool.
Never happened, but still.
Did you see that what are those mini arcade cabinets that John D works for now?
Arcade 1-Up?
Yeah.
They have a Dirk the Daring one, James. Did you see?
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was Arcade 1-Up. It might have been one of their rivals or something like that. But yeah. One of those companies is... What's that?
It was more Arcade 1-Up, I thought.
It was? Okay. Yeah. I mean, I would love to. One, I have no room because my place is already overflowing with junk as it is because there's just no storage space in this home that I live in. And two, I just can't buy nice things anymore. That's just the world that I'm living in now. So
you're an influencer now, James. You got early Blaze Blue. Hit up John D. Like, look, man, they gave me early Guilty Gear. All right, I'm in there. I'm an influencer.
Oh man, just gonna walk
James
around.
is about to jump down your throat for accidentally saying Blaze Blue.
Blaze Blue, yeah, I corrected it.
Yeah, I know, but
I'm gonna put on the shades, hold the cup, get the stick, and just be like, I'll take the Dragon Slayer Arcade 1-Up and promote it on stream for you.
Look, man, sometimes you gotta ask for stuff, James.
Oh, man.
If they say no, you're in the same spot you are now with no arcade cabinet. Oh, whatever. Anyway.
All right, let's move on to the next little bit here. Community stuff. Because there is actually something pretty cool. The Japan fighting game publisher Roundtable #2 is going to be coming soon. This will have Bandai Namco, ArcSys, Arika, SNK, and Capcom.
Nice.
And it will be February 20th at 9 p.m. Pacific time. Japan time, that's February 21st, 2 p.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Japan time. Yeah, anyway.
I'm so confused now, but anyways.
Okay, all right, my bad. All right, so
that's in 4 days.
I screwed up. All right, let me just repeat this. So February 21st at 2 p.m. Japan time / February 20th at 9 p.m. Pacific time.
Okay.
So we'll be watching it at 9 p.m. James.
And this is on Saturday then.
For us, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I
mean, what's interesting, just to end this, is that it's actually being streamed on twitch.tv/Bandai Namco US. Their US one is what's going to be streaming it.
Weird.
Interesting. Yeah.
I don't know why that is.
I remember, I mean, this was one of my favorite things of 2020. It was in my year-end stuff, and I was saying I really hope they do more of these things, and here's this, and so I'm, like, super happy about it. I think Juna and Michael Murray are going to be doing the English broadcast, translating everything again. But again, like, I'm so happy they're doing this because I thought it was a great start, and it's cool to see that they're going to keep it going.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I haven't seen that there's much of an agenda that they're going to be talking about, but we do know that there's going to be Harada and Naoya Yasuda, the esports producer for Bandai, and they're going to be talking about the, quote, the FGC and esports news. So
cool.
We'll see.
Yeah, I'm excited.
The last one was sick, man. We talked about it. We all thought it was good, and we wanted to see more, so they are doing that.
I'm just wondering, is SNK gonna say anything about netcode for KOF?
I was just about to say, James, how is SNK gonna show up at this roundtable without having rollback netcode, knowing that ArcSys put it in Guilty Gear and Namco went back and fixed it. Street Fighter 5, albeit it's not perfect, already has rollback. How does SNK sit at this table and go, "Hey guys, we're on equal footing, right? Have you seen our character trailers? They're spiffy." Like I don't know, man. I feel like they right now should be at like the kiddie table in the corner.
Man.
Look, everybody, I think, would agree if they delayed the game for another year to put in rollback netcode. I think everybody would do it. Because if the game comes out without it, it's like kind of dead on arrival, and you'll never get that back, even if you throw in the if it comes out with delayed based netcode, I should say, it would just basically kind of arrive dead on arrival. So
yeah, if it doesn't have not only rollback but good rollback, it's DOA. It's done.
Yeah,
that's how Gibby fighting games from now on, man.
Gibby had a poll on Twitter. Dr. SNK Gibby had a poll on Twitter. That was, boy, I think it's if there's no rollback in KOF15, would you buy it? It was something phrased like that, right? I forget exactly how he said it, but it was just boiled down to yes or no answer. And last time I saw it, it was like 3/4 said no if it doesn't have good rollback.
It's that easy, man. It's that important.
I mean, look, I do think that it shouldn't be the only thing, so I voted yes on that poll, even though I'm not sure I'm actually going to be playing this game, because what I wanted to get across is that I think it needs to not be the only thing. If the game that I think is like the best in the world, whatever that is, didn't have rollback netcode, I probably would still try to play it, but if a game has rollback netcode, it's obviously going to be extremely helpful for its sales nowadays. Like, that's, of course, extremely important. I don't think it should be the only thing. That is to say, like, if a game otherwise is fantastic but has this one flaw, I don't think that should be, like, the death or not. But, you know, I do know a lot of people who feel that way. All right. The next one here, I just wanted to briefly shout out some community content there's been some cool KI stuff that's going on. We'll talk about it even more in the upcoming, but just wanted to shout out that Blasted Salami, which is doing a KI series that has Infil helping out.
Oh, jeez, okay.
It's really cool. Yeah, Infil's the guy who made ki.infil.net, which is pretty much the best way to learn a fighting game. It's the best fighting game guide. It really is amazing if you've never checked it out. I recommend checking it out, even if you don't play KI or don't intend to play KI, just to like get an idea of what a good fighting game guide can be. It really is amazing.
Yep.
And so he is working with that Blasted Salami to come out with stuff. So they just came out with an Orchid video. I'll put a link to it in the YouTube of this, and I'll put it in the stream chat right now. But yeah, check them out. It's cool. And then additionally, and not too dissimilarly, Devil May Care 4 has done many character breakdowns with people in the KI scene. Basically invites people who are experts with whatever character he's going to be talking about, and they like talk about the character and show a bunch of what it does. You know, here's the game plan of the character, here's the important moves, here's how you do whatever it is. Really nice little walkthrough and breakdown. And the most recent one that he did was with Letalis on General RAAM.
Oh, nice.
So if you are curious about how RAAM plays, I'm going to put this in the chat as well, and I will also have that on the YouTube video. And the YouTube channel is Devil May Care 4 FGC. YouTube channel, again, for the other one is That Blasted Salami.
Right.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to shout those out briefly. And then the last little bit of community stuff, I just wanted to also shout out Rob Ingrim, who's a long time, since the beginning, basically, FGC dude in SoCal, who has had some serious health problems over the last while. And he put a tweet out that I just think would be cool if it happened. He says, "Dear Nike, Jumpman, etc. I'm just a guy trying to learn how to walk again. How many likes does this tweet need to get out of here walking in some J's? If this gets 50,000 likes, can I get some help?" So, I mean, I don't know exactly what has ended up happening for Rob.
He suffered a stroke recently.
Oh, wow.
He suffered a stroke recently, and I think he's trying to learn how to walk again. Like, literally trying to learn how to walk again. So that's what Mike Watson said in a post at one point in time. So
that's... Yeah, again, it's been not just that. I mean, he's been having health issues.
Yeah.
He
had
a
health issue before that he needed some GoFundMe help on, and now it's just one of those situations where some people just, you know, they can't catch a break in these kind of situations, you know. Definitely. So I just put that tweet in the chat. Again, I'll put that in YouTube as well. Okay, we can move on to the next one. Let's briefly talk about the Street Fighter League and the results, because the SFL US is now done. I actually don't know the results, but I accidentally spoiled Japan for you, so it's okay. So hey, I watched it, so I know what happened, buddy. So the top 4 teams went into like this playoffs. The playoffs happened, and Team Alpha 3 qualified, well, won whatever. We'll talk about this in a little bit, but anyway, they moved on to whatever is going to be happening afterward. And Alpha 3 is Punk, Nephew, and CJ. So they come out on top. They were number 1 throughout the regular season as well. And then the other team that joins them in moving on is Team Nasser, which was Big Bird, Angry Bird, and Samurai. And they had a super close last set. It was 3-2 versus All In, which is IDOM, 801 Strider, and SKZ. Super close. It was like right down to the end. Really, really good matches. I highly recommend everybody check it out. Great Street Fighter 5 stuff. So, as a result, Alpha 3 and Nasser advanced to the something. What was originally supposed to happen was that they'd be advancing to the Capcom Cup, where they would play against the Capcom, the SFL Pro JP winners. Right. And that's not happening, right? We're definitely not doing that right now. So, I don't know. I tried to look it up and see what they're going to be doing, but I actually have no idea what this means.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's just nothing now.
SKZ,
You know?
Someone in the chat asked who SKZ is. He's the Singapore player who qualified for Capcom Cup with Seth. Really, really strong Seth player.
Yeah, he's really good. And originally, this SFL was not supposed to be US. It was supposed to be like international. So they did still have some people who were international, like SKZ was there, but they were originally supposed to also have players from the UK and elsewhere too. And it just, you know how the year's been. Yeah. It's not like anybody could live through the last year and then forget about it briefly, right? Like, come on. As I did 5 minutes ago. For upcoming stuff, this coming weekend's really full. So it's the Guilty Gear StrIVe for everybody who's not fancy in esports, like James. Tubbo's going to be playing it. Basically, everybody's going to be playing it. Check it out. You do not need to own StrIVe to try it out on the beta. You can just give it a whirl. So give it a whirl. It's going to be for PlayStation 4 and 5. The CPT 2020 season final. So in lieu of Capcom Cup, this is what they're doing. We've talked about over the last couple of weeks. I'll be doing some stuff on that. I'm going to be on the analyst desk for that. And other people are going to be on there who I haven't seen announce anything on Twitter. So I'm going to let them handle that on their own time. But there are going to be some people there who are going to be maybe a little unexpected for the picks. It's going to be interesting.
I'm sadly not doing anything for the event, so
yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Okay, James, me either.
Yeah. Well, I was in the same boat last year. I know it's a bummer. Yeah. The DMC 3v3, the Killer Instinct team tournament that we've talked about so much, is this weekend.
I'll be playing in it.
You're gonna be in it. That is on Saturday.
Completely blow it for my team. I'm so sorry to my teammates.
You're gonna blow it?
I haven't practiced even a tiny bit.
What?
Not even a little bit, man. I just started a new job.
Right, that's true. Yeah.
I'm trying to adjust to new things.
No,
Tuesdays, right. I don't get to do anything. I work and then I take a nap and then I do this.
You're right.
So
it's tough. And then but anyway, for everybody else, please check that out. That's going to be on Devil May Care 4's Twitch channel. That will be on Saturday. And then Sunday and Monday, I think, Black Lives Matter's Pyramid of Power is going to be happening. This is the Mortal Kombat event where each character is represented by one player, and they have a battle to see who's the character that comes out on top. It's going to be cool. And then, as we just were mentioning a little bit ago, there's going to be the Roundtable of Japanese fighting game devs. So a lot of stuff's happening this weekend. A lot of things to look forward to upcoming. All right. That's it for that. All right, let's move on to the last little section here.
The mailbag, where we
answer
your questions.
We didn't get too much today. Here's the question from Fugu Tabatai. Was Anakaris a zoner or a grappler? Was he the template for Axel? And will you eat the Potemkin pie? I think that's talking about me. But
what do you think? Is the Potemkin pie?
All right, here's the joke. So I was talking on Twitter about how I'm very interested in playing Axel. My brain is excited for Axel, but my body is excited for Potemkin. I can feel that I'm kind of being tugged back and forth. I don't really know which way it's going to end up. So I had a tweet with the example of me being a cartoon character, and I'm walking down the street carrying a bag of marked Axel, and then some smell lines invade my nostrils and make me drop the bag, and then I began doing little hummingbird flying in the air as I float over, with my butt trailing. You know how it is. You know how it is in cartoons. And I'm being trailed over to a windowsill where there's a freshly baked pot pie. I'm not sure which one I'm going to eat, but what do you think? Was Anakaris a zoner or a grappler?
He was
and was he the template for Axel?
Never a grappler. Never a grappler.
I don't know enough about the character to say anything.
In the first game, he was a zoner like you couldn't even imagine. He was really, really annoying as a zoner, and he doesn't even have a regular throw. He doesn't even have a regular throw, so he can't really be a grappler. He's got the EX thing in Vampire Savior, but that's not his main thing. He is definitely not a grappler. He was the Dhalsim of the game. Of the original Darkstalkers, he was the Dhalsim of the game.
In the original one, did he have the ranged command grab thing?
No, he had the one that was just the regular. He didn't have the EX one. And he basically had the snake arms that you couldn't crouch under that always pushed you a full screen away and stuff. And then he would just jump back and throw curses at you all day and then drop combo. He was 100% a zoner back then. And then I don't think he's ever really kind of been a grappler. Yeah, he's got the EX thing. But like I said, he doesn't even have a regular throw. He has a backdash that teleports him from one side of the screen to the other, designed to run away. You know, like,
that's true.
It's hard to say he's a grappler, to be honest with you.
Makes sense to me. Okay. Yeah. That's all we had for the mailbag today, actually.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Do people not like the mailbag here?
I think actually what the problem is that I asked at like 3 p.m.
Yeah, I know.
I just totally forgot about it.
You know what, dude?
It was my bad.
You just ruined this whole week's show, and frankly, I quit.
Yeah, I also forgot to get the guest. That's true. It's all my bad.
Normally getting the guest is my job.
Yeah.
So, not entirely on you, but, you know. I checked in with you.
You did.
I was like, hey, man, is this going on? And you're like, here's the deal.
You did.
So, it's all David's fault. Blame David.
I even already did that. All right. Well, I guess that's it.
Heard him.
That's going to be that. All right, look. James has the Guilty Gear StrIVe beta, so check it out on twitch.tv/jchenso or whenever you do that. I don't know.
Yeah, why don't you go live and host yourself, James?
It starts at 9. I got to edit, so I can't start streaming right away, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to stay up for this one.
Yeah, seriously, man, go to sleep, actually. If you haven't been asleep in a day, just go to sleep. Don't even worry about editing the video. Just go to bed, dude.
Well, maybe wait an hour until it's like 9 o'clock, which is a very reasonable bedtime, and then go to sleep, and now you have a normal bedtime. What about that?
That won't last.
To start, you gotta start somewhere. Positivity, James. We're getting that sleep schedule on point tonight. It's happening. We're gonna keep it going. The chat believes it. Everybody in the chat saying James is going to get a regular sleep schedule.
That's what I see them saying right now. Yep.
Yeah,
exactly. Verbatim.
Sorry, chat. Sorry, chat. Man.
9 o'clock's a pretty normal bedtime. I mean, it is on the earlier end, but, you know, people do that.
Yeah, especially if you work.
Even when I was in college and I went to sleep super early, I didn't even go to bed at 9 o'clock.
I did used to go to bed at about 9:30 during high school because first of all, nobody was inviting me to parties, so I wasn't like missing out on social life or anything like that. But also, I just could not wake up unless I got 9-10 hours of sleep. Like I needed so much sleep back in the day. Luckily, it's not like that anymore, but I just couldn't survive if I didn't have that much sleep. So
in high school, I slept about 3 hours a night because I wanted to be up playing video games all night.
I don't know how you did that, dude.
I hated it. I hated the whole time, and I slept a lot in class. That's how I did that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, just as
video games were important.
Another note,
sure.
Remember Canadian Ed last week said he was doing translations for Nemo's YouTube channel. Apparently, he's also doing now translation for Sako's YouTube channel as well.
So,
can you please link that again? Because I forgot to put that in the YouTube last time because I forgot to write it down now. So link me right now, and then I'll copy it down right now, and I'll have that for the YouTube as well.
Yeah, and according to Fugu, he actually says that Canadian Ed has done translations for Japanese SFL as well. So
sick. All right. Yep. I am currently copying this. Boop.
All right. Well,
that's it. Yeah, we don't need to sit through me actually doing this. Let's skedaddle. Check out StrIVe. Let's play video games. I'm going to be playing it when I get it. Oh, yeah, I guess I'm going to be doing the season final. But whenever I'm not doing that, I'll be streaming StrIVe and playing StrIVe.
Canadian Ed put the thing into the chat. So
yep, I see it.
You've
got
got
it.
that there over there.
I do. Yep.
So okay, cool. I am so gone right now.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah,
Jeez.
let's end it. Put on the birds. Let's go.
I'm trying
Yeah,
to
go-
find the
yeah.
bird. I'm trying to find.
Birdum.
I'm trying to go to bed too, man. Thanks for watching, guys. Please don't forget to sub and all that stuff.
And thank you to everybody who did sub, as well as Jeek, who put in bits as well. Forgot to mention that earlier, but thank you very much for that. And thanks for all the follows as per usual. Spinning bird kicks with the sub. High five, everybody!
Thanks, guys. Bye.